This is not financial advice, not legal advice, for entertainment and educational purposes only, and anything I say is my opinion. Please don't make any financial decision based on anything I say in these videos. That being said, hit the like button, subscribe button, all that YouTube algorithm stuff so you get the videos I put them out. See what I'm thinking, see I'm analyzing that data. But like I tell every day, the data they release us is false. Many gives a false narrative to the market so we can make bad trading decisions. Listen, these bad actors that are naked shorting GME, they don't take a day off. They spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, figuring out ways to rob and steal from retail investors, from pension funds, and institutions that follow the law. Look behind me. This is from June 1st on a Saturday on the weekend. Guys are moving millions of counterfeit GME shares preparing to decimate the market.
I don't think so, Donnie. Millions? I see a number that changed by 200,000 at the most. Where are you getting millions from? Where are you getting millions from, disingenuous shill? Or maybe he's not looking at the title of that column that says available.
At 8 p.m. on Sunday into the pre-market, because they can do whatever they want with no consequences. When the market is closed, it is closed for retail investors. It is closed to pension funds. It is closed to institutions that follow the law. But it is never closed for these bad actors. They take every single minute, second out of the day to figure out ways to rob and steal from us. Okay? On Saturday, when the market's supposed to be closed, when there's no trading going on, these guys are active. Now, where are these shares from? On a Saturday, where are they getting these shares from? Millions of GME shares that appear out of nowhere. And the thing is, in the industry, the SEC would demand an investigation.
Not millions. Besides, well, anyway.
The DOJ would demand an investigation. The FBI would demand an investigation. You see what's going on with the play. Every other day is some kind of new revelation that these guys cannot be trusted, that they got in too deep. And I've
what play is he talking about?
Is
there even a play?
Wasn't the CEO of GME, it would be trading under $5 like AMC.
Yeah, good. Okay. No way to know that.
Ryan Cohen is, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to buy or sell GME, is a way better CEO than Aron. I believe he's concerned about his shareholders. He's concerned about the value of his company, and he doesn't even take a salary.
He doesn't even take a salary. What a selfless man.
Well, if Aron didn't take a salary and his total compensation was based on AMC doing AMC would be trading a whole lot higher. The bottom line is this.
What?
I believe.
Doesn't even make sense, Don. What are you talking about?
GME. I believe the liquidity is running out. I believe T+1.
Okay, sure.
Is putting pressure on them. I believe the
how. What evidence is there for that? What evidence is there for anything being different from T+1? You didn't show a fucking thing. All you did was misinterpret 200,000 shares as millions. You fucking moron. You are a fucktard. Worthless piece of fucking shit. Sitting here manipulating people, telling them, oh, this had a huge effect. No, it didn't. And the icing on the cake that says you are a brain-dead fuck is that you think that Ryan Cohen is a good CEO. What the fuck? You are a fucking clown. Just like Ryan.
Putting pressure on them.
Cohen.
And I believe that these next week or two are going to be very, very interesting.
See, the problem is, though, that you've been saying that for literally fucking years. You've been saying that literally for years at this point. Next week is going to be amazing. Next week is going to be it. Next week, free beer tomorrow. No, there's never free fucking beer. And next week is usually the same as last week, generally. Even when it is different, they don't take profits anyway, so what difference does it make? It's if it's stuck into $10,000 a share, which is paper hands anyway. What do you fucking care? You're not gonna sell your shares. You said that. So why hype it up? If not to get other people to buy in. Come on, man. Come on. Get a new fucking grift.
But don't think just because the market is closed, that these bad actors aren't there plotting and scheming. It's right here on Chart Exchange on a Saturday when the market is closed. They're moving millions of counterfeit GME shares in order to prepare to manipulate the price once the market opens.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Anyway, please leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Do you think it's fair that these guys can be moving shares on Saturday when the market's closed in order to...
How do we even know that that's true?
...of GME?
How do we even know that that's true?
Great day, God bless, and I appreciate y'all on this.
This is Interactive Brokers. Why don't you get on the case of Interactive Brokers? That's their data. That's not the market. I don't know.
It's impossible!
This is what happens when you work to change things.
You're being a little bitch. What do you fucking want from me? Get off my dick!
You know, if you don't understand the situation...
Well, that's our show today, folks. Have a good one. No, I'm just kidding.
This will matter.
Yeah, Tony. Yeah, it's funny. Anyway, good evening.
Man, fuck you. I think you a bitch. You understand what I'm saying?
The feeling's mutual, Frankie.
Is that what you're saying?
Hey, Model 3 dude, how you doing?
Are you saying it? What are you saying?
Huh? What?
First they think you're crazy, then they fight you.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. I don't think that's the case.
And then all of a sudden...
Let us see what we got here. It has been a minute. All right. Anyway. See what the Ape Father's got.
There's been a lot of action lately with AMC and GameStop, and I don't think it's going to end. I don't think it's going to end.
Oh, okay.
You're going to see a lot of...
Just gonna... What are the odds? Infinite Hopium. I didn't know he was going to say that it's not going to end. Sounds pretty infinite to me, doesn't it? Good job, Rich.
You're going to see a lot of falls because AMC and GameStop, despite what Moran's rant says, okay, 100% in my opinion run together and fall together. I don't know if you noticed, they don't only run together. Like, have you noticed this? Every time they go up, they go down together.
Well, that's very interesting, actually, that you mentioned that, because we've been saying that for a long time. Look at this. It's funny to check back in on this crap. It's the most recent pump and dump. I believe we said this would happen, just like every other fucking time. Yep. Oh, that's GameStop. That's GameStop. Here's AMC. I mean, it's the same damn thing. Yep, same damn thing. So yeah, we know that. We realize that, and we have been trying to say that for 3 years now? Whatever, however long it's been. I don't even know. Because it's the same thing all the time. I mean, look at this. Why would you... Anyway. Yeah, you're right. It does. Okay. Congratulations.
They're not brothers in arms or sisters in arms, because I call them Amy and Gabby. Okay, but this is the situation. I don't think it's going to end. I think you're going to see a lot more runs. Okay,
it will never end.
Actually, might make them. Unfortunately, I hate to say this because I never wanted to say this. You know me with AMC. I always would hold to Pluto. That was Ape Father's thinking. But unfortunately, that it's becoming the day trader's dream creep play. I hate to say it. I used to fight with day traders. You know me. I used to have wars with day traders. You leave my Amy alone and leave Gabby alone. But now it's becoming too wild. There's a lot of running going, and there's a lot of falling. A lot of running and a lot of falling, which makes it the perfect play for day traders. to make a shitload of money. But I'm just throwing that out there. Of course, I'm not a financial planner. Of course, I'm not telling you what to
Of course not.
telling
Because financial planners don't wear Snuggies, do they?
buy it. I'm not telling you to
Not when they're giving fake financial advice.
speak in my mind. But I definitely think there's going to be a whole lot more running going on. It's not
I mean, see, he says AMC GME have a lot more runs coming. If he means the shits, like as in diarrhea, not unlike what he is saying verbally here, verbal diarrhea, I could get behind that. I agree. AMC and GameStop stocks are going to have the runs, as in they are going to shit all over themselves. It's going to run down their legs. Doesn't matter if you think Ryan Cohen's a better CEO. Everybody poops.
not over.
Yes.
Video's not financial advice. I'm not a financial planner. But I am the greatest entertainer who's ever lived on planet Earth and the entire universe, the one. The only...
Yeah, no. But how are we not talking about how Deep Fucking Value is just the CEO, Robinhood CEO with the headband on? I mean, seriously. The resemblance is uncanny. He's even in the same location. This is from January 30th, 2021. Look at that. Amazing. How did we miss this one? Back when it was called Twitter, right? Bull Run loves when they pump. I sell covered calls. Way out of the money for free premium. Way out of the money. Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. That reminds me, I got to pull up the platform so we can look at the futures, right? Which have been open now for almost an hour. Anyway, good Lord. Okay. Now, who is this pretty boy? Yeah, I can't believe they had strikes that high
right now. And again, just following.
That was wild.
And
those call options. You know, when those strikes were added, it's hilarious. It's freaking hilarious. It's so expected. The strikes got expanded on, I believe it was May 15th. So, like, oh, I think it was right around here. It was right around here somewhere. Yeah, good job. Freaking scam market. Who in the who in their right mind has any business buying $128 calls on GameStop for the weekly ones? That's hilarious. I mean, good for you, Bull Run, but I mean, you have to admit, and I think that you probably would, that is a fucking stupid investment. I mean, you can't even call it that. It's gamble buying. Who in the world has any business buying those? It's ridiculous. Anyway, but hey, take advantage of it. Make money off the idiots. That's what I say.
AMC really just one of the funniest things that's happening right now. And again, just following up, GME and AMC, really just GME gapped up at one point. I think it was up about 25% during that pre-market session. I missed out. I missed out on being able to short it because it quickly sold off, and it makes complete sense on why it sold off, and it has not been able to recover since. So I wanted to share what it is that I'm waiting for and what I plan to do now. So I hope GME rises. It's not because I have a long position on it, just so I can show you I have no open position on it. I want it to gap up because we all know that this thing is going to absolutely crash. The reason that it's rising today is just check out how hilarious this is. This stock is up, and it was up 15% because the company itself sold $933 million worth of that stock. And the absolute funniest part about it is that they say that they may use it for investment purposes back into the company, which is an absolute joke. Again, all they're doing is they're going to need to pay off debt, right? And just like AMC did, they have debt that's due in 2026. This is just another way to be able to cover it up to make it look like it's not to pay off debt and like they're not struggling. We all know GameStop and AMC have been struggling companies. That's why year after year after year, it's not an opinion. They continue to lower estimates because these companies are not growing, they're consistently declining. And it just... It's so funny to me.
Well, I mean, maybe if you're a shill, they're constantly declining, but I don't know. Where do you get off on saying that these things are constantly declining? I mean, come on. Well, But AMC, no. Where are you getting that from? Oh, wait a minute. Well, I stand corrected.
Money. Anytime that these companies gap up 10, 15% based off of that news, I view it as this is free money. As long as it gives me the ability to be able to short it, I'm all for it. And the big thing that we need to take into consideration is that, again, these are just glorified pump and dumps. We need to make sure that no future news catalyst can be shared that could send the stock flying. Because, again, if this stock gaps up, because I think at one point it was up 25% on the day. If it was up 25% because it announced that it's selling $1 billion worth of its shares, and that caused the stock to go up, what an absolute joke, right? And the way that they're covering up, it just shows how gullible all the people are that are supposedly part of this.
Bingo.
If you look at this
Bingo.
from $80
Bingo.
$15, it really wouldn't surprise me. As long as no future news is shared or any form of catalyst that can send the stock flying.
Oh, it will, though. You know it will. You know it will.
Something for this thing to go up. It wouldn't surprise me that this thing goes right back down to $17 and or even new lows by the end of the week. This is not good news. If this was any other stock that sold off nearly $1 billion worth of their shares, this would not be good news. If we look at something like GME and look at something like AMC, I mean, they've been struggling and have not been indicating any signs of an uptrend. But again, if Roaring Kitty sends out a tweet once again, insinuating that he's investing or he's backing it up, then yes, I do believe that GME and AMC can skyrocket. But as long as no funny business happens, then at the end of it, these stocks have no other option but to go back to their true value, and that is as close to zero as possible. So anytime that these things gap up, especially super
he's a shill
reasons on why they're moving up, I view it as, okay, this is a great opportunity for them to be overbought.
However,
confirmation of a rejection, and then I short them.
However, oops.
Time. So I'm really excited to follow up. Again, I have no open position right now. I want this thing to rip up a little bit more.
Well, I want to go back to this one part that he said here.
This is not good news. If this was any other stock of and the way that they're covering up, it just shows how gullible all the people are that are supposedly part of this movement.
Bingo! 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 Bingo!
Yes. Thanks, Ricky, and also thank you, Larry. Cool. Let's check out the back end of this video here.
Again, I have no open position right now. I want this thing to rip up a little bit more to become more overbought. So I have more margin to work with to be able to make money as it sells off. Instead of trying to make 5% by opening short right now at $22, there is a possibility that it could just try to run up. So I want to open up short right around $23 to $24 as long as we show signs of a rejection and actively begin to sell off. And then I'll open short there.
Okay. All right. Well, we see that you are a shill, so... Anyway, what's going on with Finger?
I'm not a financial
Frankie get fingered or what?
This video is for entertainment purposes only. Whatever I say in this video is my opinion, may not necessarily be factual. Don't buy, sell, or hold a stock based on anything that I say in this video. Always do your own DD, man. I'm just an entertainer. Look, bro, my
sweet
naked shorters is that they criminals. That's the only thing they did was they just put themselves in a position to make money because they came into an industry that they knew that will allow them to engage in security fraud, corruption, and criminal activity.
No, sir. What they did was they came in and they recognized that a bunch of idiots are all over the place, and they have these irrational beliefs, and they're pumping stocks, and like Ricky said, I mean, of course, they're going to go back to where they belong eventually. So, it's free money for the short sellers. Why would they need to naked short it? I mean, there's which way do you want to go? It's
They knew for the type of crimes that they were committing, nobody was going to regulate them or lock them up. So they took advantage of it. That's it. But if these criminals, man, are not able to nick and short, they done, man. They not intelligent, wise people.
Well, that's not true.
And
that's not true at all.
With their crimes. But if they take that kind of, man, criminal mindset and they try to engage in criminal activity in other industries, man, they probably get their ass locked up. But that's it. Ain't nothing good about them. They just criminals. They not smart. You see what I'm saying? And with that being said, look, bro, I don't, I don't see no reasonable, no prudent, and no legitimate investor
buying any of these stocks. Oh. Well, boy, silly me. Well, I don't see any prudent investor buying them. That's just me.
Why would you do that, man? In my opinion, the only people, man, that's shorting finger at this point is criminal short sellers or somebody tied to the naked shorts. That's it. I mean, why would you short a stock like Finger? You can only make $3, but the loss and the risk is infinite. Who would do that, man? Like I said, nothing but a criminal short seller or somebody tied to the naked shorts. So Finger released a 10K.
Or somebody who thinks that it's a bullshit fraudulent company. I mean, by the way, I'm here on FinViz anyway, and it says here short float 5.54%. The float's only 37 million, according to this. Is that right? This is 37.2 million. That's just it's corroborated over on TradingView here, right in this area right here. So there's 37 million shares in the float, and it says on FinViz, based on the exchange reported, 5.54% short float. I don't know where in the world then you could possibly ever get 200 million counterfeit shares. Where does that come from? Is that just don't tell me that's a made-up number. There's no way. Really? That's just a made-up number? You shameful motherfucker.
Now we see, because they've had these short and distort reports out here saying bad thing about Finger, and now you see it's all a lie. So they released they released a 10K, and Finger is up over what? 687% over the past 5 years. In 2020, they made 5.2 million. In 2021, they made 9.4 million.
Okay, well, you can rattle off numbers all you want. We can look at them, though. It's better to look at them. So, let's see. Okay, annual revenue, 35 million, which is an increase of 1.74 million, 5%. Cool. 1 million higher in revenue. That's the top line. That's what they want you to know first. We brought in little less than $2 million more than we did last year. That's sweet. That's amazing growth. Okay, reported year-over-year annual growth in telecom products and services of 5.78 million or 21%. Okay, good. Reported year-over-year annual decline. In SMS and MMS business revenue of 3.94 million or 60%. So we got a growth of 5%, growth of 21%, and a decline of 60%. Cool. Reported year-over-year annual decline in big data revenue of 0.11 million or 25%. Gross profits of 3.86 million, which was an increase of 1.54 million or 67% compared to 2023. Great. Annual cost of revenue 31.93 million, which is an increase of 0.19 million or 1%. Operating expenses was a decrease. So here's one. Why wouldn't you put this higher? Annual net loss 3.76 million, which is a decrease of 3.78 million or 50%. Loss per share 7 cents. 1.52 million in cash. That's amazing. Right. A transitional year toward higher margin endeavors, product diversification. Okay, so what you see here is some areas there was growth, some areas there was decline. On the whole, they still lost money. On the whole, they still lost money. Okay. Okay. Anyway.
2022, they made 14.5 million. In 2023, they made 22.5 million. And in 2024, they made $35.7 million.
No, they didn't. No, they did not. They did not make that much money. That's the revenue figure. 35.79 million. That's the revenue, buddy. So, you know, they collected that much money, but how much of it did they actually get to keep? Or did they get to keep a negative amount of it? Which one is it?
There's a company that's getting stronger and stronger. You see what I'm saying?
Give me a fucking break.
Think about it, bro.
Wow.
You know, they was able to do this with the company being allegedly criminally attacked with naked shorts over the past 3.5 years.
How does that affect that at all?
Do this with allegedly over 200 million counterfeit naked shorts in the stock. With 2 million.
Allegedly, according to whom?
They was able to do this. You see what I'm saying? And the company has still gotten stronger and stronger. You know, with all this activity, security fraud, and the regulators allegedly looking the other way and acting like it's not happening. Because we all know they know what's happening. The truck done been in front of the SEC I don't know how many times.
So they know what's going on. The SEC knows what's going on. The truck has been in front of the SEC building many times. So that's how you let the SEC know? The truck has been there. Wow.
I know what's going on. You see what I'm saying? But look, bro, this ain't the
yeah, we see.
For Jeff Eason and for Lynn Partners to be wanting to naked short. Because they're going to get caught up. You see what I'm saying? But these criminal short sellers, bro, that's what they do. They short good companies. They try to short these good companies, you know, into bankruptcy, or they try.
I mean, the lack of logic here is just staggering. Why would anybody short a good company? If it's so great and they're growing so much, why would they do that? Isn't that a certain loss? Isn't that a certain loss? So why would that be done? It makes no sense. It makes 0 sense. And the thing is, Wall Street institutions, they don't think like these apes do. So the reasoning and the justification and the logic is on a completely different level from where this guy operates. I mean, this guy's sitting here touting revenue numbers as, oh, look, they made 35 million. I mean, what do you do with that? How can you even, I mean, it's remedial.
Try to get them delisted, you know, so that they can walk away with tax-free money, and all them millions of counterfeit shares that they created, they ain't got to buy back. That's what they do. That's the game that they play. But it just so happened with Finger, they weren't able to get away with it. And time is ticking on them. So now what they doing is, in order to avoid margin call, in order to avoid going bankrupt, in my opinion, they creating more counterfeits to cover the counterfeits that they've already created. You see what I'm saying? In essence, they trapped in the stock.
Oh, yeah, because there's evidence for that. Yeah, of course.
Company. You got to applaud us as retail investors because we didn't allow them to destroy this company. The company is still...
Wow. Okay, so you didn't make any money, but you got to applaud yourself because you didn't allow them to destroy the company. I mean, how many times do people need to hear or say that short selling does not bankrupt a company? I would love for these people to explain how that is possible. Because it's not. Especially if it's such a strong, supposedly a strong company. So what? Some people don't believe in it. And I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. That doesn't mean that I want the company to be destroyed. Jesus. There is no nuance at all here. It is very much a cult where you're either with us or you're against us. You either believe in this company and you want them to be, uber successful, or you want them to go bankrupt. And I'm sorry, that's not the way it works. When you're talking about millions of dollars on the line, it's not the fucking way it works. Jesus Christ. I mean, this guy should be fucking ashamed of himself. Coming out in the public and saying this shit. Are you kidding me?
Being successful is getting stronger with, in spite of
not getting stronger.
So it's the criminal activity and the short and distort reports. So they weren't able to take the company down. You see what I'm saying? And I'm going to close with this.
Okay. They weren't able to take the company down. Did you talk to the short sellers? Is that their goal? No. I mean, he's gotten calls from short sellers before. Hedge fund managers have called him. Why don't you listen to what anyone else has to say instead of listening to yourself? Because you have no clue. I mean, but I also love the fact that he said short sellers were not able to destroy the company, because we defended it. We bought it. Congratulations, your exit liquidity. That's so cute.
Jeff Easton and the Lynn partners done all the bad things that they've said that they've done to us as retail investors and the company. They deserve to get whatever they got coming.
Oh.
You need to understand, in the United
Profits?
States,
they've got profit coming.
Illegal. You can go to prison for it. But thank you for taking time out to watch the video. Have a nice day.
Imagine someone talking like this about a stock like Microsoft. Does Nvidia count? I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, this is so wild. All right, what do we got next here? I'm not sure what this is. This was suggested by.
Just a quick reminder.
Manuel. Oh, I love this guy. I love this guy.
Just a quick reminder to all the people that come in and say things like, we have no way of telling that this thing can reach 100, 1,000, 2,000.
Well, I agree with that. There is no way to know that.
They're the same ones saying that it's only going to reach 5, 10, 15. It's the same thing for them. They have no way of telling that as well. So ignore the...
Wait. So the argument is... This is a Russell's Teapot argument. Russell's Teapot.
But it's going to be strong. It's going to be heavy. It is what it is.
This is what we call a pretty healthy shot of hopium. Yeah. But the thing is here, if you claim something, you make a claim, you have to support that with some kind of evidence. Okay? And if not, if it's not supported by evidence, then is it really my responsibility to go find it? If you're giving me an argument, it's on you to make the argument, provide the evidence to support it, right? So I could sit here and claim that anything, but I'll just use Russell's teapot example, that there's a teapot orbiting the sun in the position of, in between the planets, and it's there. You just can't see it. You could try using a telescope, but it's doubtful you'll be able to see it, but it's there. It's totally there. Should you believe that? Well, no. I mean, no, of course not. And I'm not going to sit here and get my telescope out and try to find it, a needle in a haystack. You can't demonstrate to me that it exists. So, bringing it back to this example here. He's saying, oh, it can't, people saying that it can't go over $100 a share or whatever. You don't believe that because they haven't shown any evidence that it can't go over that. But here's where Russell's Teapot comes in, because I say, you have given no evidence that it can go over $100 or whatever the hell he said, 1,000, 10,000. And being that it is up to someone making an assertion to verify or to validate that with facts, it is your responsibility to prove that if you're going to claim that. So this argument is completely backwards, illogical, and essentially irrelevant at this point. But it's only a less than 2-minute video, so I've talked already more than the length of this video. So
they're going to play me off as I've seen it a few times now as I don't know anything, and I really don't. I haven't claimed to have known anything, but do your own DD. You don't have to know anything to acknowledge the fact that this thing has been fucked with.
Oh, okay. You don't have to know anything. Well, that's good, because none of you do.
Like I say, do your own DD, do your research. Ignore the FUD, because...
Is he in a BW3, by the way? Is that a BW3 he's in?
The biggest opportunity is that
I'm getting hungry.
In history, there's never...
Yeah, from retail to Wall Street?
Never. Do your own research. Don't take my word for it. But,
Yeah, well, what if we do, and the research doesn't come up to the same conclusion that it does for you? That's the problem here. That is the problem. Because I've done my research. And I don't get any of the same answers that you get. I mean, maybe I should go back and check my work again. I'll just go back and check the arithmetic, I guess.
I can't say, or we'll never know it'll reach over $1,000. They can't say with certainty that they know it won't.
And there's Russell's Teapot right there. Because you never have given a single shred of evidence that it could. People have been saying this for 3 years with no evidence. The reality is, if evidence existed that could show that, I think it would have been brought up by now. So let's face the fact. There is no way you could prove that. There is no way you could prove that. It is truly a Russell's Teapot. Amazing. We talked about this months ago.
So, with one breath, they're saying that no one can tell the future, but then they're also trying to tell you the future. So, you know what I mean? Enjoy your...
Not exactly.
Again, in my opinion, it'll happen when it happens. And it's always going to be when it's least expected. So, until then, be safe and enjoy family. Just do good things.
Yeah, you better enjoy them while you have some money, because once you're totally broke, they won't want to be anywhere near you.
The most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Well said. Okay. I'm not sure who this video actually is here. This might be... Okay, I don't know who this is, but... Mythomania. Who are we talking about here? Oh.
Have ruled against Houston Wade. The situation with Wade is now as follows. He owes more than $620,000. He is bankrupt, and his debt continues to grow by $60,000 a year in interest alone.
What?
To put that in perspective, if Houston Wade were to get a job at the post office, he might expect to make $28 an hour. If he worked Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, he would make about $54,000 a year before taxes. That alone would not be enough to pay off his debt in interest alone.
What is a debt for?
This is the story of Houston Wade's downfall.
It's a long video.
Houston Wade has a habit of lying about neighbors he does not agree with politically, and he's been successfully sued by 2 different neighbors so far for defamation.
Neighbors.
In this brief video, I'll discuss just one of those instances. An instance in which Houston Wade lied about a neighbor, got sued for defamation, lost at the Kitsap County Superior Court, and then declared bankruptcy.
Kitsap County. Where's this?
$503,000 judgment that was levied against him before losing in bankruptcy court, where the judge also
Washington State.
a malicious liar and forced him to have to pay for his judgment, followed by Houston Wade's losing attempt, a Hail Mary.
Look, it's beautiful.
The appeals.
It's beautiful there.
And then another 2
Wow.
to sue me for
Why would you lie about stuff if you lived here in such a paradise?
I think that's really not okay right at the moment, so I'm going to have you guys step out front.
Houston.
Okay?
Yes. You're being served. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
After losing the suit, Wade told his friends
I remember that video.
he had not lost the suit. Amazingly, even after the court issued a $503,000 judgment at 12% interest, Wade was still lying.
Oh, dear.
That he hadn't lost the suit and that it had been dismissed.
I have not lost a $5 million lawsuit, and the case is automatically dismissed as a result, because in Washington State, if you don't file any paperwork, case gets dismissed. People sue for stuff all the time.
I could have just waited and he would have told us. Washington State. How about that?
My stalker likes to point that out. But you know what? Most of the time, those lawsuits just fade away into nothing. And then 2 of the guys are very upset about me writing articles about me, and they sued. Okay, whatever. I don't give a shit.
While Wade claims that he doesn't, quote, give a shit about being sued, he began to really care once his funds began disappearing from his bank account, seized to pay his judgment. At that point, Wade changed his story. He explained that he was denied due process and wasn't notified of the judgment against him and wasn't given a chance to defend himself in the lawsuit. That very same lawsuit where Wade regularly appeared before the court and where social media posts demonstrate.
Is he taking the Donald Trump approach there?
So Wade filed an appeal well outside the.
They can say all they want about me, and I can't say a thing. Damn that gag order.
Wade also filed for bankruptcy. Wade's hope was to have a federal bankruptcy judge discharge his defamation debt so that he wouldn't have to pay Bill Nelson. That attempt failed, as the bankruptcy court became the second court to rule against Houston Wade.
Mr. Wade, you are currently obviously filing for bankruptcy at this time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Filing for bankruptcy is not good for the individual who files it, correct?
As far as I know, it is not a good thing to have happen now.
It's harmful to them, right?
I mean, it's an inconvenience. You know, until this order came about, my discovery of it, my bank account being drawn, I was okay with paying my bills. So
bankruptcy does harm your credit?
Well, obviously harm your credit, yes.
Okay.
Good morning, this is Judge Dewar. It's the time I've set to give my trial ruling in Nelson versus Wade. Those findings from the judgment established that
this is a channel
identifiable
called Pick Your Battles. And the Noisy Corax was the one who submitted this to us here. So, so we got court audio here, other things on this channel as well. How about that's from 2 years? Wow, 2 years ago. This guy's been on this guy's ass for a couple years. I mean, it's good. I mean, he's been out there lying for a long time. So, yeah, okay. It's a bit long, so we're not going to go through all of it now, but I mean, it's good to see some come up and here for that, for sure, right? As far as Houston Wade, what else has he been saying? Well, see, he still does live streams a lot. They're only about an hour long usually, but you know, if 27 minutes is too long, then an hour is surely too long. So
My question was, he's referring to the judgment.
Anyway.
Just a matter of time. Good luck. We frightened.
I don't know what we got here. This is there's a creative element to this video too, so definitely worth checking out the whole thing. Well, let's see. It's about that time we should check in on the futures. Oh. Totally flat. Totally flat. You seeing this? Totally flat. Now, natural gas did gap up. Not oil, though. Not gas. Not to gasoline, but natural gas. Speaking about that GameStop gamma ramp, if you look at the open interest here, nope. Sorry guys, but there's no. If you think that this is going to make anybody do anything, well, how about this? Okay. It's been a minute since we've looked at this one. How about it? One's for Model 3 dude.
And maybe take advantage of the over-shorting positions by the hedge fund guys who were trying to really drive down the price of the stock.
Well, this is something a lot of people actually missed from the hearing and the comments of Kit Gill. He referred to the main issue on the stock market, which is the transparency, and seeing someone as the congressman asking Kit Gill what should change on the market or how the government could improve the stock market. You understand that one day, not too further down the future, you could see an individual investor in the Congress trying to protect the market, trying to change the transparency rules, and essentially make much more knowledge for individual investors.
Why?
The whole mechanism on Wall Street works.
My first question would go to Mr. Gill. Mr. Gill, you know, I guess the question is, you're a very serious investor, somebody who does his homework,
Why didn't they say, you know, you're a FINRA member. You're a member of FINRA. You have professional licenses. You're a professional. You do this professionally. Yeah, he's a savvy investor. He's a serious investor. But isn't that a bit disingenuous? I think so.
You're a very serious investor, somebody who does his homework, invests in the market, your own personal funds. And so I guess the question would be here today.
But that's not all he does.
The actions around Robinhood, all the transactions that took place. And I guess, do you think we need more legislation as a result of what happened here, or did the system actually work? And let me just make a couple comments on that part. From the standpoint that did it work, was it self-correcting? Did the fact that somebody like yourself was able to invest and maybe take advantage of the over-shorting positions by the hedge fund guys who were trying to really drive down the price of the stock for other reasons, whatever, or did it point out perhaps that
for other reasons, whatever,
probably I would argue that was undercapitalized or under-reserved, or maybe there was over-aggressive other types of investing that was taking place, the algorithms that were there, the different business models, they didn't work because you outsmarted the system, so to speak. Would you like to comment on that, on that sort of questions and how I formatted that?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I would say my expertise is in analyzing the business, the fundamentals of the business, not so much on the inner workings of the market. I'm not so sure about legislation per se. What I would say is that increased transparency could help. That if someone like me could have a better understanding of how those types of things work, I feel as though it would be quite beneficial to retail investors.
It's mind-boggling that, you know, the congressman said, you, Kit Gill, was capable to outsmart the smart money. Unbelievable. Like, this is the way how you really get the idea how a small guy with own due diligence, own investment knowledge, right, own expertise,
and an army of pumpers,
not someone else's money, can actually outsmart the smart money. This is why they don't like it. They hate it, right? Think about it. You have a hedge fund with 20, 30, 50, 100 employees, smarter people, right, than average.
Really, that many?
Economics degree, finance degree. Even the algorithmic trading people, you know, they were outsmart because, like the guy mentioned, the algorithms were not capable to detect that there is a major inflow of this particular security, and this security,
who said that,
overshorted. So the algorithms didn't have time, or were not capable to make the decision that they have to start covering early on when the stock was in mid hundreds, right? The main point over here is that Kid Gil outsmart not only the smart money, but outsmart their systems, outsmart their risk management tools. Essentially, the guy also said Robinhood was, you know, out of the needed capital to be able to meet such a kind of demand and such a kind.
Yeah, but ultimately, who outsmarted whom? Because the people that outsmarted Wall Street down here, and then this happened, right? So that's a result of that outsmarting that they're talking about. But the thing is, the real narrative got started in here. This was not the squeeze. It's going to squeeze again. It's going to be even bigger. No, it never was. But that was the narrative. So you created this overhead supply. Right? Now, all these people that bought in here, they believe that. They believe that narrative. And they didn't believe it down here. They weren't part of it yet. They didn't believe it until they saw this. So my point here is the following. The retail investors who are sitting down here with massive losses, aren't they the ones who got outsmarted? I mean, yeah, of course, at the beginning here, maybe Wall Street was caught with their pants down. But everybody knew it after that. When you get into this big old mess up here, this big old cloud of confusion, right? I'm going to draw a few more squiggles that'll be even more confusing. This cloud of confusion, this is when the narrative set in. And now as a result, if they actually were to, you know, acknowledge reality, not where it's going, but where it is. Who outsmarted who? I mean, really.
The short covering, it's just such a kind of squeeze. And you gotta respect the hustle and how grounded Kid Gil is. You know, he said, you know, my expertise is only in due diligence, in analyzing the fundamentals of the companies. I'm not an expert in trading, I'm not an expert in algorithmic trading, I'm not an expert in, you know, machine trading, computer trading, I'm not an expert in hedge funds. He said simply, we need to know how this system works. This will make a lot of people more comfortable trading. They will know exactly what to expect. Again, there is.
I mean, yeah, sure. But the thing is, doesn't that just take diligence? Doesn't that just take research? Doesn't that just take learning? Well, I don't know. I mean, yes, it does. How about this?
This is not financial advice, not legal advice, not data, so we can make bad trading decisions. You guys, read that message behind me, okay? This is how desperate these RICO conspirators have become. They're putting comments that I should talking about AMC and GME and start talking about God and bringing people to Christ. So they know they can't intimidate me. They know they can't scare me. So now they want to use my belief in God. My belief in God to deter me from talking about the fraud and corruption in the stock market.
Okay, but Okay, check this out.
Good evening, everybody. Lord really pressed on my heart today, so decided to make this video on AMC and the AMC movement. Now, I've been in this play for over 3 years now, and just like you, I've been up and down the roller coaster, up and down the roller coaster. It's definitely been hard. It's definitely been trying, but I truly feel for what the Lord has shown.
It's almost like he's a modern day Moses. 40 days. Anyway.
That the fruits of our labor, our posture, our confidence is going to pay dividends. For those that know me or follow me, the Lord gives me dreams, gives me discernment, gives me confirmations over my dreams. The Shemitah year, the 50-year Jubilee, the Great Wealth Transfer. And I truly believe that AMC is part of the Great Wealth Transfer. And I do believe that the Lord has brought me to this play to bear good fruit. And I've asked him for confirmation over these things many, many times, and he showed me. And so today I want to share those things with you.
Oh, boy.
Foremost, I want to proclaim Jesus Christ as my Lord, my Savior, and my King, and let you know that I come to you in Jesus' mighty name. Let's go ahead and start off with last November. So last November, I'm driving home from church on a Sunday.
Never seen this guy before.
And I follow somebody on YouTube named My King Yeshua. And she is a prophet, and she gives a lot of great insight. And I do
prophet,
the anointing of God. And in her video, she was talking about the current market, the discernment over the market, how her dreams relate to these things, and what she sees is going to happen. And something came over me where I stopped the video while I was driving, and I prayed to the Lord, and I asked him, Lord, I'm in this AMC play. Can you give me further conviction over this play? Can you give me some type of sign and signal that, I should stay in here and that it'll bear good fruit for the kingdom? And turned back the video, finished driving home. And when I got home, I was only about halfway through her video. And I walked in the house and I planned on watching the video on my phone, but my wife was downstairs vacuuming the couch. So it was pretty noisy. So I decided to go upstairs in the loft to finish watching the video. And as I was turning her channel on YouTube, I saw that she had just posted a new video. And on this video, it was a picture of a monkey or an ape in front of it. And I said, wow, that's pretty peculiar. Maybe the Lord is telling me something right now. Let me go ahead and watch this video instead. And in this video, Kim talks about the difference between angels and wings. But she also talks about the difference between monkeys and apes, where monkeys have tails and apes do not. And
yeah, for sure, Charlotte. Oh, my goodness. But I just wanted to clarify, when we're talking about prophet here, we're talking about prophet, like a prophet who tells the future, not profit as in making money, which is actually the point of this whole investing thing. So homophone, sounds the same, spelled differently. It's a different word. It goes back to 3rd grade phonics and all that. Just want to make sure everybody knows we're talking about a religious profit, not monetary profits.
I just had something telling me that I needed to look up apes in the Bible. So I did look up the Bible. And on 2 Chronicles 9, verse 21, it says, for the king's ships went to Tarshish with the servants of Hiram. Every 3 years, once came the ships of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. Well, I said, okay, Lord, you've got the ships years bringing this transfer of wealth over. That's all.
But they're bringing the apes with the gold and silver. That means that you are property to be given. That doesn't mean that you were given the gold and silver. Did I hear that right? It said all those things, and apes were part of it.
Of Hiram, every 3 years, once came the ships of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks.
And ivory, interesting. Ivory, like tusks, ivory tusks of elephants or something. Yeah, we don't do that anymore. We definitely don't do that anymore. But I realize I'm applying logic to this, and this was never meant to be analyzed logically. It is the Bible after all. But I mean, let's see if he makes a distinction about what it is here.
Well, I said, okay, Lord, you've got these ships every 3 years bringing this transfer of wealth over. That's all I needed to hear. I'm good.
Oh,
so
nope.
Thank you for the confirmation, Lord. You know, I felt confident in the play.
So all you have to do is mention, all it has to be done is mentioned. It just has to be mentioned. It doesn't actually have to be in the right context. It doesn't have to be, oh yeah, we brought this for these. No, it could be that gold and silver and apes and ivory tusks and all this wonderful things were brought to whoever, and that is enough for him. It's enough. It's enough confirmation. What the hell else could this be used to confirm? That's my question. Can I use it to say that, well, I'm going to get a delivery of silver tomorrow. I'm going to get a delivery of ivory tomorrow. I can finally redo my piano keys in real ivory. I don't think so. But again, logic, no place here.
Of course, I'm staying in. Well, I've had many other dreams since then. I'm not going to get into all of them, but I do want to talk about my most recent dreams. So on the day of the reverse split, we saw the price pretty much tank. And I did have a spirit of fear over me. And there's things I was thinking in my head, you know, should I have done this? Should I have done that? And then bought back in. All these different things are flooding through my head. I'm sure you guys can relate. And I did have the spirit of fear over me. So what do I do when I have a spirit of fear? I get on my knees. I read my Bible. I pray. And when I was praying, I ended up falling asleep. And I had a dream.
Oh, okay.
In this dream, I had somebody come to me. And what's funny about that is you guys may know him if you follow him on Twitter.
Nobody ever comes to me.
POS or Noah Pools. I've never met him in person. I don't know what this gentleman looks like, but I've spoken to him on the phone a couple of times. We DM back and forth because we have a common interest in Jesus Christ, but also the AMC play. And in this dream, he is showing me a picture or a chart. And on this chart or picture, it's a bunch of dry bones scattered on the ground. And I look at him in confusion when he shows me this picture, and I ask him, what are you showing me here? And he turns the picture right side up. And it is a fully erect skeleton with its eye over its brow looking forward. And in my dream, I got excited because I felt that something that was dead was about to come to life, or at least something that looked like it was dead was about to come to life. That don't look at things in the physical because God is working on things. I've got to trust and have faith in it. Something is getting ready to happen and look forward. And I usually don't get discernment in my dreams right away. Usually when I wake up from my dreams, I write them down. I try to discern who's in my dreams, what little symbols here or there, what are symbolisms. I look them up and I pray to the Lord and ask him for discernment over my dreams. But in this dream, I got really excited. It's like I knew exactly what the Lord was speaking to me about. And it was about the AMC play. You know, the connection that I have with, of Kevin from Noah Pools was discernment right there. But also something that looked like it was dead to most was actually about to come to life. Like, look forward, something is about to happen. You need to change your perspective. As a man of God, we do not rely or trust in the flesh. We trust in the Lord. We trust in the supernatural, and he is supernaturally moving in this play, and I truly believe that.
Supernatural?
Later, I have another dream. I was reading my Bible. I finished. I sat down and laid down to pray, and I fell asleep. And in my dream, I was walking through a park or an amusement park.
I'm noticing a common theme here. Whenever he prays, he tends to fall asleep. I mean, it could be that, it could be the pill that I take before. I don't know. Good Lord. Okay.
And I saw this person to the left sitting on a curb, and I believe he was with like a little girl and two other people. And in my dream, I didn't know who it was exactly, but in my dream, I had discernment that this person was powerful, had a lot of influence. So I went up to this person and I started pleading with them, saying, are you going to do anything about this? Are you going to do anything about this play? There's corruption, there's deceit, there's lies, there's thievery. There are people's money that is being stolen. There are people's life savings that is being taken from them. Are you going to do anything about this? And he looks at me and says, is this happening to you? And I said, yes. And he stood up and said, it is done. Wow. I woke up from my dream and I was like, wow.
Wow. Wow.
Exactly what that dream.
Yeah, wow.
And got very, very excited about that as well, too. And usually after my dream, some type of confirmation. Was it the pizza I ate last night? Was it just, my thinking, whatever it was. I usually ask the Lord, can you give me some type of confirmation over this dream?
He's got to be taking drugs before these prayer sessions.
Previously left off. Well, after that dream, I opened up my Bible, and what was the very first thing I read? It was 2 Chronicles 9, and it came to verse 21. For the king's ships went to Tarshish with the servants of Haran.
Oh.
Once came the ships of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. Wow. The chances of that, I mean, at some point, the chances, the probability of that is 0 to none. It's the Lord speaking to me. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There are no coincidences in the body of Christ. And I know all of you have been through these things just like I have.
Wow.
It's been rough. And I'm going to tell you that if it wasn't for the Lord, I don't know if I would have made it through this. Matter of fact, I really didn't want to make this video, but the Lord reminded me.
You shouldn't have. You should not have. So when Donahue George says this kind of stuff, I mean, it could be a new area that he could explore because it's already been done successfully by others. So all he has to do is come up with some BS about a dream, and that's it. That's it. You get a few more views. You need to see this before Monday. Stockmo. This guy. This fucking clown. Last day for covering. No. Ape at 68. I mean, it's not even... Jesus fucking Christ. What? Okay. What do we got here? Lack of common sense investor.
What's up, everybody? It's the Common Sense Investor coming at you with another video. And in this video, let me share something with y'all people. This is the website that I'm building right now called Strategic Studies and Proposals. And it's the website
what's
going to house the proposal for why King Griffin's activities demand congressional action and how payment for order flow works. And I'm going to add some more.
What the fuck?
Petition here. And it's going to look real nice. And that's how they contact us. But when I woke up this morning, I was like,
Don't even go and don't even say that you had a fucking dream. I will end this stream right now.
I don't really feel like being serious. I'm serious all the time. So I wanted to take a break and I wanted to laugh. And I got a couple of go-to places like the Saturday Night Live weekend updates with Colin Jost and Trey. Love that. Makes me laugh every time. But let me tell you something. You can always count on something funny happening with AMC, all right? And particularly Disney. Now, I have seen the trailers for Deadpool and Wolverine, and when I was growing up, Wolverine was one of my favorite X-Men, so I really like those shows. And I'm watching the trailers, and I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be a hit. It's the only Marvel movie coming out this year. So this is going to be a hit. And I didn't even know who Ryan Reynolds was. So I looked him up and seen what movies he had on a streaming service. And I checked one out and I'm like, well, this guy's pretty funny. This is going to be a big hit for AMC. All right, and Disney. But don't you know, Disney's going to shoot themselves in the foot. All right, now. Just so you don't think that I'm crazy, I'm going to go over here to YouTube and show y'all this. You can see YouTube, the name of the video is Deadpool and Wolverine Popcorn Buckets Wars. Okay? And in this video, he's talking about where Deadpool and the rest of them are talking. And they're talking about how awesome it is that everybody loves the popcorn buckets and there was going to be a war for who would be the best popcorn bucket of 2024. And then they revealed the Wolverine Deadpool popcorn bucket. Now, people, when I seen the video of it, I was really, really shocked. And I'm thinking, how can Disney shoot themselves in the foot again?
Boy, that was a hell of an edit.
Seen the video of it, I was really, really shocked. And I'm thinking, how can Disney
okay,
shoot themselves in the foot again? All right. Now, just to let you know, and you're wondering how this is going to relate to AMC, Regal has already said they're not going to sell this popcorn bucket. They consider it too vulgar. All right. And the way that it's being promoted, where Deadpool's running his hand down the side of Wolverine's face, and it's just the sexual connotation. Regal said they don't want to sell the popcorn bucket. They created their own popcorn bucket for Wolverine. So we're going to see what AMC is going to do. But they anticipated selling at AMC. But here's the trailer in case you missed it. Comment down below.
Why do I care about this? Why do we care about this at all? I'm not playing this trailer. I don't care. It's there. People can watch it. Oh, Jesus. AMC stock AMC stock might pivot due to GME gamma squeeze in 6 trading days. What is this nonsense about a gamma squeeze? Where is this coming from? Whoop. Let's see here. Trading Jesus. Oh, look, there's a common theme today, and it is Sunday. And then here's this video. It's a different one, but it's the same. God. I don't even know.
2% in green for both GameStop and AMC. We have near a breakout for GameStop, guys, on Friday. So this is a good indication that we might have a breakout next week on Monday.
Oh, it is? Well, that's news to me. We had a... Oh, God.
Have to prepare, guys, because this is not a random reaction. The price pumped, of course, here. Back in the last week, we almost did 50%. Then we dive down. This is just a correction. And now it's preparing for another kick up. So we have to discuss where the price will go.
Oh,
how
right.
much we could do this time. Last time we did 50%. We're waiting for other 50 or 100% for GameStop, of course, and AMC because it have the same volume, almost 30% or 30 million worth of volume. And of course, we've got much bigger dive for AMC. We're going to discuss why AMC went more further down than GameStop. And we're going to discuss, of course, where the price will reverse for AMC as well. So let's dive deeper. And of course, hit the like button and the way in, everybody, because we always go live on our YouTube channel 30 minutes before the market open. And of course, 2 hours and 30 stocks that jump it up. Like last time we had.
Yeah, okay, got it. Where's the... I mean, he's not even looking at the option chain, so I guess I don't want that one. I guess I want the other one here, this one. Although, I don't think I want this one either.
What's going on, YouTube family and friends? It's your boy Wall Street Bets, yet coming at you with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing the gamma squeeze that GME is currently forming. I'm going to be explaining to you guys,
oh my God,
gamma squeeze and what we should.
All right, here we go.
Also, AMC. On our Friday's video, we were looking at the formation that was forming in AMC, ladies and gentlemen. It was looking bearish, but we did actually close with a bull flag. And with GameStop actually forming a bull
flag. Closed with the bull flag.
Since the first squeeze, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people are on the edge of their seats, and with the numbers leaning towards a gamma squeeze, that can really take...
How? Show me how.
AMC always pivoting with GameStop for all
I want to see.
Out there, strap in your seats as well. But before we do so, I just want to thank video.
No.
This video here.
Show us the option chain.
We're not talking about a run just off a sure company and or any retail investor that decides to jump in GameStop and cause a fluctuation in price. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, anytime that GameStop sees that type of run, we're not talking about a run just off of sure company actions or news. We're talking about a meme rally run. Anytime that GameStop sees that also AMC does pivot along pretty well. If we take a brief look and just check out AMC, as you guys can see here, it also made a nice pivot when GameStop did, but this is what has a lot of people on the edge of their seat, ladies and gentlemen. If we just take a brief look and just check out the chart, as you guys can see here during the first rally run, and this is what everyone is expecting to happen, and this is what's setting up the gamma squeeze. I am so excited, ladies and gentlemen. We have only...
This is what's setting up the gamma squeeze?
6 trading days on the 8th. Let's check. On 6 trading days left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the 10th. We got 6 trading days left, ladies and gentlemen. We are in gamma squeeze territory. But if we take a brief look and just check out the first rally run to that 400.
Why?
We made a retracement.
No, tell me why.
Now, we made a retracement.
How?
Those low levels, sorry about that.
This is not relevant to a gamma squeeze now.
GameStop, but we did actually see...
I don't care about 2021,
that Bollinger Band,
2020.
That bull flag. But if we take a brief look and just check out what is transpiring here today, ladies and gentlemen, as you guys can see here, that exact same style before the second breakout.
No.
Okay, this is what has a lot...
You can't... Oh, my God.
Excited right now that we're in the stock and did actually see what unfolded back when this thing first took off. It is showing the exact same style of movement, ladies and gentlemen. Not
what?
That with the huge retail investor interest that GameStop has recently gotten over the last month of trading, thanks to, again, the resurfacing of Roy and Kitty and the other few
things that
took place. I do feel as though that GameStop is in a better position than it was last year. Okay, GameStop has grown.
Well, we'll see about that.
Gotten a little bit more retail investor interest and hope since this thing has popped here recently. With that being said, the gamma squeeze that is
here we go
baking here currently. The gamma squeeze is basically, ladies and gentlemen, is through the options contracts. Okay, basically you have market makers.
Well, no fucking shit. Okay, I can tell you right now. This is going to be a bullshit explanation. I can tell you right now. Based on his introduction right there. He has no clue. But I could be wrong. I like to be wrong.
Hedge funds as well. But when you go out to buy a option contract, it is always two sides to a transaction. More so, it's the market maker that's going to be selling you that option contract, which puts them on the short end of that deal. So they're basically shorting a call contract to you, right? So basically, if the price starts to get close towards that strike price, all right, the market maker will be obligated to cover those calls. Thus, they will have to go out and buy those shares ahead of time. That buying.
What?
Towards that strike price on the short end of that deal. So they're basically shorting a call contract to you, right? So basically, if the price starts to get close towards that strike price, all right, the market maker will be obligated to cover those calls. Thus, they will have to go out.
I'm not really sure what he means by cover the calls. I mean, I think he's talking about hedging, but I mean, this is an automatic thing based on delta. So if you buy a call that's in the money or close to the money with a 50 delta or greater, you know, then a certain percentage of the shares that were represented in that strike price, the total number of contracts will be bought by the market maker. But that will, I mean, that is essentially to offset the risk that they have created by selling you the contract. It's not, you know, to for any other reason. It's just to keep it neutral, because after all, they're neutral. They're a neutral party. Dealer is neutral. But you gotta remember, there's a put option side as well. People are betting against the price going up, and so those shares are also those contracts are also hedged on a percentage basis as well. So I mean, at the end of the day, the idea is for them to remain neutral. This can result in, you know, temporary pumps in the stock price, which we see all the time. Why would it be any different this time? I mean, keep going here.
Ahead of time. That buying also puts pressure on short positions. We're not talking about short contracts. We're talking about hedge fund short positions here in GameStop. That also puts further pressure on those, which can force that into a short cover situation, ultimately forcing the gamma squeeze. The gamma squeeze comes before a short squeeze, ladies and gentlemen. But the gamma squeeze is a huge, huge step and vital step into achieving a short squeeze. Because without the options chain, shorts will be able to tear this thing down easily if it builds momentum. With the option chains, it puts a lot of uncertainty for shorts, due to the fact that the market maker is basically
don't really think so.
Entire time. So in any time that more so often than not, I'm not going to say every time, but 90% of the time, guys, when you're out there buying call options, you're buying it from a market maker, and the market maker is basically on the short end of that. So if we do see, and since we're seeing this bull flag form here in GameStop, like in the past, in that second rally that we did see cause the gamma squeeze after the first major squeeze here, so that's 483. This rally here, guys, was solely gamma squeeze. All right. And that was over 465% in gain. And again, AMC also formed this exact same bull flag after making my video on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. If you check out that day chart, this is also trying to break through the band to the upside. If we do see this form here Monday, it is more insight that this gamma squeeze may just actually take place, because again, guys, just off the fluctuation of price puts pressure on those short contracts. Okay, the market makers that shorted those contracts too. Share price fluctuation to the upside is going to put huge pressure to that. And with this bull flag forming in GameStop, and like I told you guys before, AMC tends to more often.
Are we going to look at the option chain or not?
We expect to see the exact same thing take place. Okay, so for all you AMC out there, like I said before in the beginning of this video, don't forget, strap up as well. What I would do in a situation like this, ladies and gentlemen, in AMC's favor, Okay, I wouldn't buy calls here in AMC. Okay, I would buy calls in GME for sure, but I would hedge my position here in AMC by buying put options. Okay, especially if I have a huge long position already in AMC, ladies and gentlemen, I would consider put options here this week. I would get I would get some
long put options. Oh, you are not.
Oh yeah, out the money puts. We get some out the money puts here.
Oh, jeez.
$4 strike price. Okay, currently this thing is sitting here at 29 cents. I'm not saying that this thing is going to fetch a return or anything like that. I'm just letting you guys know this is a options contract that you would want to hedge your position here just in case we fall short of those gamma squeeze expectations. Like I said before, AMC is solely going to pivot with GameStop, and if GameStop actually achieves that gamma squeeze like things are leaning towards,
why?
Then, ladies and gentlemen, if we do lean towards that gamma squeeze, ladies and gentlemen, then in fact, of course, you're going to lose money on your options contract, your put options, but
you're going to lose money on them anyway. But reality can set in. This is the GameStop option chain for this coming week. I'm seeing open interest of 2,000 contracts at the money. Some out of the money strikes here have 4-digit open interest. 6,000. 1,000, 2,000, 7,000, 3,000. Most of them, not really. 7,600 at 128. Okay, but those are already worthless. Those are already worthless. This is hardly indicative of a gamma squeeze. You got to be delusional. I don't know who is putting this out there. I don't know where this is coming from. Nope. Nope. I mean, really? Really? I mean, there's practically more open interest on the puts. I don't know where they're getting this stuff from. I don't know.
Again, if it doesn't go that way and we do fall short, then you will actually be able to make money on the way down and use that to average down on your long position here.
Well, that's theoretical. Unfortunately, probably not. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? Well, look at the implied volatilities on the puts and the calls, but I mean, it's over 200. It's over 200. What happens if that collapses? What happens if the price comes down, but implied volatility on the puts also comes down, rendering your position in the negative, even though, as he just said, well, you should be making money if the price goes down. But unfortunately, that's not the way it works in reality. Theoretically, maybe. But in reality, especially on the meme stocks, if you could make it to where, you know, retail investor would lose money on either bet, wouldn't you do that too? Kind of.
Here in AMC. The reason why they call us dumb money is because a lot of times retail investors tend to look one-sided on a trade.
Oh, dear God.
That isn't how you want to go about things, guys. You want to make money whether it is on... It's not about being right. Let's just say that, all right? It's not about being right.
That's good because these people are never right. So that's convenient.
Or whatever, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we're here to do, is make money in the market, okay? So with that being said, don't short the stock, okay?
Don't short the stock. No, if you God, if you think it should go down, you're better off to short it than to buy puts. Actually, you're better off selling calls. You will always do better whether you're bullish. If you're bullish, sell puts. If you're bearish, sell calls. You will always do better, especially in this high, well, I don't want to say always, but in this high implied volatility bullshit. I wouldn't want to be buying puts. No siree, Bob.
We need to do a deep dive into what Roaring Kitty was trying to tell us.
Oh God. Oh, let's get some interpretation from this genius.
Roaring Kitty posting several intriguing movie clips hinting at something big. Let's take a look at some notable releases.
God.
The extraterrestrial.
How in the hell do people have time to do all this shit? For real. Oh my God, he's looking up the dates too. Wow.
It says already. But wait, you remember when he posted this clip right here? Troy fell to Greek forces. June 11th.
Well, who was that said that they're being played like a fiddle? I think Manuel said that. Here you go. I hope you like the turkey in the straw.
Date with various historical, cultural, and seasonal significance. And that is the date Troy fell to Greek forces. Roaring Kitty continues to hint at us June 11th, June 11th, June 11th.
He never did anything like this before.
Of June.
Why?
And we're going to get into that. Now take a look. Ryan Cohen tweeting, time for pillow fights
in August of 2021.
Right? The Beatles, pillow fights. And this correlates to Adam Aron saying, eat crow, posting a crow. June 11th, 1996. The song by the Beatles, Blackbird, was released. When discussing the song, McCartney said that the lyrics were inspired by hearing the call of a blackbird by the civil rights movement in the southern United States. Let them eat crow. Now hang on. Roaring Kitty posted a very short piano song. The song is from Game of Thrones Season 6, OST, Light of the Seven, Episode 10, Trial Scene. Now every fan of Game of Thrones know what happened in this scene. It was a green of wildfire, boom. On every level, boom. 69-minute.
Wow, sounds amazing.
Stunned. So what's happening here, right? 6-10, Season 6, Episode 10, and the climax of this was the finale, the last 69 minutes of a bloodbath, leaving the viewers stunned. Could this mean leaning into the 11th? We are stunned. And
yes.
Bloodbath for short sellers.
Yes.
Now take a look.
But see, confirmation bias at perfect application here. Thank you, Justin, or whatever your name is. We don't know your name. Can we learn your name? Why would it mean that it would be a bloodbath for short sellers? Couldn't it just as fairly mean bloodbath for long position holders? I mean, I'm just asking questions here. Why would you assume that it would be a bloodbath for short sellers if it did indicate some bloodbath that was coming, which, let's be honest, it's fucking retarded. But the confirmation bias in his brain says, well, of course it's bloodbath for the other side, not for me. Confirmation bias. Everything you see, you interpret as being beneficial to you, which will ultimately ruin you. Still waiting on that to happen for a lot of these guys. Clearly, they're not relying on trading. They're not relying on AMC or anything. Most of them live at home. You can tell that by just, when he does his videos from the kitchen and stuff. You show me a 20-year-old's got the shit that he's got in his kitchen, for example. Hey, it's an assumption. I recognize that, but probabilities game. What's more realistic?
The epic GameStop saga, how retail traders toppled hedge funds.
Oh boy.
This entire article. But if you come down, you take a look at what's next. Looking ahead, GameStop's earnings report is on June 11th. Will be crucial. Investors and traders alike will be watching closely.
Will Ryan Cohen do an earnings call? That's the thing I care about. Will Ryan Cohen finally do an earnings call? Or is he still too scared to step out in public and speak? If people are going to ask him what he's going to do with that money, he better have an answer. No way. There's no way that they'll do an earnings call. I don't think.
How the company's performing financially.
What are they going to say?
This report could either stabilize the stock or create new waves of volatility. Which is exactly.
At least that's honest. It could stabilize the stock or create new waves of volatility, i.e., it could sell off massively.
Something that we are about to see. Now, aside from all of the cryptic tweets from June 11th, let's take a look at what potentially leads up to that, or what describes the month of June in general from Roaring Kitty, and we'll go in order here. June 3rd, Big was released. June 3rd, 1998. Now, this is the...
I mean, there's no way that this person doesn't have anything better to do with their time, really, than to look up what movies came out on these days. I mean, okay, 1988, but maybe he's going to reference 1986. What movie came out then? Let's just pick 88 because I like Big. Yeah, okay, good. Will Josh stay big or become a 13-year-old boy again? Will the stock go? I'm interpreting it for you. in advance of him. Will Josh stay big or become a 13-year-old again? Will this stock explode and become big, or will it go back to $13 again? What do you want to bet? I mean, that's obvious, right? It's obvious. It's obviously wrong.
June 3rd, Big was released. June 3rd, 1998. Now, this is the plot for the movie, but will Josh stay big or become a 13-year-old boy again? June 4th, 1953. Julius.
He's not even going to explain
June 5th,
it?
The Truman Show.
I guess it's that obvious.
Posts a clip right here from The Truman Show. It continues to line up. And you know that we have been talking about
no, it doesn't.
All of the catalysts that are coming for June, not just GameStop earnings. June 6th, The Omen. The Omen was released. What else happened with The Omen? Adam Aron's tweet talking about The Omen.
Okay, yeah, sure. Maybe The Omen is ominous for you. But let's just live in, La La Land.
Okay. Now, there's also talks that 238 was the bottom for AMC. 238, The Omen, right? You can go down the line. Now, I don't.
What is 238? 238. What? Oh, gematria. Oh, we're using numerology now. Oh, okay. Why didn't you just say that at the outset of this video? I just wasted several minutes on something that ended up being numerology. Oh my God. Bye. This is absolutely ridiculous. Oh my God. This guy right here. This is one you got to watch right here. This is one of the ones you got to keep your eye on, because you think he's going to take. You think this guy is capable of taking a loss sitting down?
Have finished the day green. The cash system is now officially in effect, and I do believe AMC and GameStop are set up to go even higher these next couple of trading.
But that's what they said before these things were implemented. Now they are, and you're still saying that. Oh, but I believe it's going to. At what point do you get canceled?
Days.
But how do we bring that about?
I believe that. Make sure to go down and subscribe if you guys are new.
Here's how. Everybody subscribes to this channel, not his channel. This channel, my channel, and turns on the notifications, and also, crucially, shares the live streams and videos with this little share button right here. Copy that link, put it wherever. I don't care. Anywhere. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. And get some people over here to see this stuff, to think about it differently. That's the only way. And then maybe, it's a pipe dream. I know. Never mind.
To the channel.
Just unsubscribe from my channel,
because I do update you guys on AMC stock every single day. So AMC closed at $4.33. We did hit a high of $4.39.
In this meme economy, fewer subscribers is better. Fewer views is better. It's more bullish. When the price goes down, it's bullish.
And it's like towards the last 15 minutes of trading, and then we dropped down back to 433. After hours, we're trading a little lower at 426. Still in the green from where we closed yesterday. GameStop closed up 2%, so up 8% in the past 2 days, and it's also trading a little lower after hours. I do believe we did bottom out AMC at $4.10. That was our low today. I bought all options when it was at
Jesus Christ.
I put in another $300. I don't freaking care. I am holding.
He put in another $300. Kiss it goodbye.
These call positions. If you are shorting AMC stock right now, if you have puts on AMC, I would be scared. But obviously, I'm on the call side, and both sides is extremely risky. Extremely risky. That's why it is good to just buy shares, because you can go to sleep at night. Me personally, I already do have 3,000 shares loaded up on the side, and I'm just buying call options with, some charges. So I'm buying calls on AMC because I am extremely, extremely bullish for what's about to come. We just broke past $4.10. That was our support line. I do not believe we're going to break below $4, and it is possible. It is freaking.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to happen, in my opinion. I think we're going to retrace back to $5, then $6, and then $10 once again. Possibly.
What if the entire market collapses next week? What about what then? Contrary to popular belief, like these stocks are not important. They're not, and they will follow the market. I've shown that. Yeah. What if this market? What if everything collapses tomorrow? What then? Oh, AMC's going to go to the moon. Sure.
higher. We could go up 200% from where we're at. That's $12. Anything is possible here, especially with...
But who cares about $12? You're not going to take profits at $12. Nobody did when it did before. Oh, that's terrible looking. I mean... And it went way past $12, didn't it? No, it went to $12. Okay. For some reason, I was seeing this 30 over enough. Yeah. I mean, somebody did. There's a lot of selling here, but I don't think it was the apes, and I don't know if they know how to close option positions. So, anyway.
The cash system now to effect. Shorts are scared. Shorts are scared. Hedge funds that have been naked shorting the stock illegally, they're screwed. Things are going to be different now. I really do believe so. And, if everyone just does their job, we could see AMC stock go back to where it should be trading at least past $30, $40. Easily. So this guy...
It should be. Right. Oh, he's going to talk about something else he doesn't understand.
New record. Largest I've ever seen on AMC. 1.2 million order imbalance on buy side. So the New York Stock Exchange order...
What does that mean? Explain to us what it means.
AMC, 1,212,803 shares on buy side. That's why we got this increase in price. This is order imbalance on the buy side. Huge imbalance on GME also. Not connected at all. I mean, people have been buying the stock forever. It's nothing new. We all know that us retail investors outnumber all these hedge fund criminals that are going to burn in hell 1,000,000 to 1. So at the end of the day, we cannot lose. Apes strong together. Apes together strong.
Oh my God.
And it is true. It is true. All of us apes have been buying like crazy. I've been buying. We're unstoppable if we just work together. That's what Wall Street is scared of. That's what they fear the most. So a huge record for AMC. 1.2 million shares on the buy side. That is huge for AMC stock. AMC flow is at 296 million. AMC shares sold short in May, 1.4 billion. Cash system like this. That's the cash system right now.
This just came out.
Report until the end of June. Who knows? I do believe things are going to be different now. I hope they are. Because when we compare AMC to...
You hear that? Did you hear that? Let me go back. Infinite Hopium is the theme tonight.
Short in May, 1.4 billion. Cash system like this. That's the cash system right now.
Yeah, well, that's short volume, and if you bought shares, congratulations, you're contributing to that short volume. I mean, I just can't.
The cat is live. Some people are saying they actually don't have to report until the end of June. Who knows? I do believe things are going to be different now. I hope they are, because...
I do believe things are going to be different now. I hope they are. Well, there's a quote for that on the soundboard. Thank God. Where is it?
As my Jewish friends in LA used to say, a man who has to hope is already in trouble. And that's why we don't hope. We know, we scope.
My old Jewish friends in LA used to say, a man who has to hope.
As my Jewish friends in LA used to say, a man who has to hope is already in trouble. And that's why
a man who has to hope,
we know, we scope,
is already in trouble. And he's old, so he knows what he's talking about. And his friends were Jewish, so that means that they have money. Or at least know how to manage it. Just kidding. Stereotype. But, I mean, the quote stands, though. If you're relying on hope, you've already lost.
When we compare AMC to IMAX, when we compare AMC to Cinmark, AMC is literally trading in the pennies right now.
Good thing.
It doesn't make sense. Obviously, AMC is a little bit on the debt side. They do owe some debt, but there's
a little bit on the debt side. Oh, wow. At least he's acknowledging these things. Like a little bit on the debt side.
Trading in the world, and they don't deserve to be trading at cents when Cinmark and IMAX are trading in the tens.
Good thing they're not trading at cents. They're trading at 433. So if I went to buy it right now, I'd have to pay $4.33. I don't know how you're buying it for cents, but
20s without a reverse split. It doesn't make sense. So the
yeah, it does.
OBV at all-time highs looking like this. So the AMC volume is going insane, parabolic. Last time it was like this. AMC was easily trading over $100 after the split, obviously. Before the split, it was over $10, $50. It was in the $30 range for a long time, back from 2021 to 2023. Obviously, late towards 2023, we did start going down. And then come August of last year, we just dropped. Penny stock, boom. And we've been down ever since.
Yeah, so congratulations. This means nothing.
We do have a lot more room to go up than to go down. That is for sure. Which is why I'm so comfortable buying calls, which is why I'm so comfortable just leaving my life savings in AMC. I do.
Oh my God.
In my opinion, I do believe it is going to go up. This guy said, well, hello there, OBV. AMC, we never left. This OBV drop was an illusionist trick. They knew that we were tracking everything. Also, the OBV.
Oh my God.
Failed like all their tricks. You're effed, not us. So these shorts, they're going to start closing.
known as copium. Yeah, we know that this is a trick. You know, nice try.
In my opinion, the shorts that can close.
Also, why does this say 2.39 billion, but over here it says 757 million? Discrepancies.
Close, they're going to start closing and they're going to start cutting their losses or take their profits. You know, if you shorted AMC on the way down from $10, obviously in the profit zone, and you better take it ASAP. Better take it ASAP and buy your shares back, because we are going to the moon. Strap the frick in. It is time. This has been the moment we've all been waiting for. We ended the day.
Yeah.
I predicted.
What is this?
Video. Make sure to go watch.
Is that supposed to be an Uno card?
That's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, make sure to go down and subscribe.
Oh yeah. What is this? Is that like a reverso card for Uno or something? Uno reverse card. But it's green. These are red. Okay, I guess I have red ones too. Anyway. Yeah, reverse. So, meaning reverse? I don't know. Reverse split? Reversal of conditions? I mean, so it was going green. If it reverses, that means it's going to go red? So it's already green and it's going to reverse to red, or it's green, red. I don't know. Okay. It's too hard to keep up with this stuff. You heard that in there. Wow. Damn. Got some ears on you there, son. Anyway, right. Is this, Manuel, is that in the overnight market? It's up 20%? I may have to sell my shares. Just kidding. Anyway, never selling. Unlimited squeeze. Unlimited hopium. Infinite. Unlimited. I mean, look at that. They pulling out these old video clips. God. Disgraceful. Okay. I want to check out something right here. Let's pop over here. What is today? Today is the 2nd, right? Okay, 2nd. Well, it'll be the 3rd in Asia. I don't know what's supposed to happen this week. As far as anything else goes. But, let's see something here. Saw him live in San Diego 4 weeks ago. Awesome. Yeah, I saw him in Cincinnati. This was years ago. He lives in Cincinnati area. Might be, I forget exactly where, but last I heard he lived there. Did they already cancel? Oh, no. Okay.
Sign up at tastylive.com/newsletters.
Regulation time may have expired, but the conversation is just getting started. This is Overtime, the post-market scrimmage for market junkies. Join Chris Vecchio, Ilya Spivak.
And a post.
All right. We're just going to get a little large-scale overview here from Vic Jones so that we're not, 100% on memes.
Oh.
And I also need to know some of this stuff, too. So, I guess that will probably conclude the meme stock discussion and revival here. So we'll check out a little bit of this and we'll wrap it up by 9 o'clock.
It is Thursday, May 30th, a little bit after 5 p.m. Central Time. The best.
Yes, it's from Thursday. Hey, it's the best we can do, I guess.
New evening show, The Price of Truth, a little podcast here where we like to explore the incentives that govern our world. The normal idea is to have great ideas, great minds come on and share great ideas. Today, we're going to be rocking solo again. So let's have some fun together. Same as we did earlier in this week. I had a lot of fun doing it, so I'm hoping we can go to the well one more time. Shout out to everybody who's watching on YouTube. Not to exclude those that are watching on tastylive.com, not to exclude those that are watching through the Tasty Trade platforms, both desktop and mobile. But there is only one place to take part in the conversation. And these solo shows are some of my favorites because I get the opportunity to Tasty Live, go to our channel in the chat. I beat you to it. Grumpy Mike, let me know where you're watching from, or type in random. There's a lot to discuss today. A fairly interesting day. When I say interesting, if I were to tell you that bonds rallied, stocks were weak 3 years ago, you'd be like, yeah, dude, that's what happens. That's what's been happening for the last 50 years. Have you not been paying attention? However, in a post-cerveza sickness world, that has been the notable exception, as you've typically seen bonds or yields and stocks, really correlated. So you're seeing positive correlation between bonds and stocks. That was not the case. You got a negative correlation here today. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the consumer. A lot of people looked at Kohl's earnings report as some sort of final seal of death on the consumer. I still think that's the wrong lens with which to view the world. I'd like to talk about that. I do think there are some professions in which nuance matters, and this happens to be one of them. So I want to talk about the nuance that's required, I think, when looking at patterns.
Wow.
In the United States.
Holy crap.
Of course, you had GDP today.
Holy crap. That's terrible.
Risk-taking many favors, at least in the short term. So I want to talk about that as well. West Virginia, what's going on? Pretty light on positions right now, really. So am I, quite frankly. And I've been that way for a little bit. I don't think that's the worst thing, to be quite honest. I think there are 3 different ways to think about the world, probably 4, right? You can be bullish, you can be bearish, you could be aggressively neutral. In other words, your position is you believe markets will trade sideways. And there's a 4th, which is, I can't make heads or tails of this. I think if I was being honest with myself, I'm sort of in the latter camp.
I'm in camp 4.
It's a very, very difficult market.
So I don't feel bad.
Unless you're a technical trader, and I think most people should incorporate lots of...
Because so does Vic.
Macro, whether it's vol, whether it's technical analysis, fundamental, bottoms up, top down from a macro perspective. But I don't think being an informed participant can hurt you in any way, shape, or form. But I do think
agreed.
This is a marketplace that gets going, you see some autocorrelation. In other words, fancy word for trending. But in terms of a defined point of view for how to navigate risk, a defined point of view for how the Fed's thinking about interest rates, or how to think about inflation, how to think about growth, how to think about domestic investing versus international investing. It's a very choppy market for the last, year and a half. So let's start talking about international majors here, and then we'll get going. E-mini S&P, futures are back open, baby birds, but we're right around 42, 52, 45, down $7 from settlement. But it was a weekday overall in the S&P 500. NASDAQ was heavy as well. That's in the face of bonds that rallied pretty much across the curve. Dow Jones has been heavy, super heavy for the last, this is now a week straight where the Dow is not only, because a lot of the majors have been heavy with the notable one or two session exception of the NASDAQ. Majors have been heavy, but this is 5, 6, 7 straight sessions of heaviness for blue chip, dividend paying, instruments that are in the Dow for one reason or another. And the Russell was really the notable exception today. The Russell was relatively strong for most of the session, up at one point while all three majors were negative. You had the Russell up more than 1%. Still, you see a bit of a defined downtrend here for the last 2 weeks or so in the Russell, but on a percentage basis, it held in there today. The VIX popped, but still we're sub 15. After making a run towards 15, we're only up, we're at 19 cents or so on the day. VIX futures a little bit lower than cash, or excuse me, a little bit lower than cash at 1440. But I think the interesting elements here within the majors themselves, Coles got absolutely obliterated today. Closed the session yesterday somewhere around $27, 27 and change, and today ended up closing at 21.02, but it traded down into the mid 19 handle. This is sort of one of those interesting ones where, it's not like Cole's going to have this massive impact into the majors or into, risk-taking appetite in general. But I do think, this is one of those things, you got bulls telling their narrative or pointing to their confirmation bias to the data that confirms their already established point of view. If you don't mind me saying so, and then you have sort of the bears and the bulls are sort of doing the same.
No, we don't mind you saying so at all.
Probably is a feather.
Please do.
Bears cap that is speaking to the quote unquote. I've heard it explained multiple ways that the consumer is tapped out, that the consumer is running out of discretionary funds. I've heard it described in many different terms today. I think it's worth reminding people that describing the consumer in an inflationary environment, trying to describe them in the aggregate, is a very dangerous proposition. I've said this before. I will say it again. It's worth referencing a conversation we had when we launched the show with Jim Bianco. I mean, this was one of the first weeks of the show, and he did an amazing job. I forget the survey that he was referencing offhand, but he was referencing one of our financial surveys in which the top 50% accounted for something like 80% of consumer spending. So when you have this, inflation is the most unequal. If there's one thing that doesn't,
33% short interest on Coles right now.
Massive impact on lower income earners with lower net worth, and higher net worth tends to correlate with asset ownership. You own a home, perhaps multiple homes. You own
33.7%.
You own retirement accounts. And those things tend to do well on a nominal basis anyway. I'm not talking real, but at least on a nominal basis, they're doing well with inflation. And which means the pain of inflation is felt more so by lower income earners than upper income earners, which means the consumer and consumption patterns should be thought of at least in two different buckets, if not with a lot more nuance than that. I think anyone that studies or digs in on retail companies, owns retail companies, and you're reading the financial statements, that's how you spend your time. Those types of people will dig in. There is to consumption behavior, demographics, those types of things. In this case, I don't think, there's a case to be made that I ain't got time for that type of mentality, and I totally get it. But it's at least worth thinking in two different flavors. And the flavor who has gone to McDonald's, it clearly is not open and willing to pay $18 for a Big Mac anymore, which is now why you see this reintroduction of the $5 value meal, which was announced by McDonald's, a $5 value meal, which is coming from Burger King. The horrific idea of Wendy's to have some sort of flex charging during peak hour times that has gone by the wayside. Walmart seeing strength in a way, but because of consumers trading down. Starbucks with the same type of narrative that these discretionary items of a certain type of consumer, they get thrown out in a world where people start needing to stretch the dollars. And I think this is in line with some of those reports that we've seen so far this earnings season. Net sales down for Coles like 5%, $3.18 billion. They had a loss per share of 24 cents versus a profit of 4 cents expected. Revenue, as I mentioned before, it was 3.18 versus, let me give you the verses, 3.34 billion expected. So sometimes, and most of the time, it's not always about what did you do for the last 3 months. It's how are you guiding into the future. And that was not good either. They lowered their forward guidance in 2024, expects full net year sales to decline between 2% and 4%. And Wall Street had been expecting sales guidance of around 0.2% gain. So effectively flat to just positive. Yet the company guided down by 2 to 4%. So it's not great, right? And you see that reflected in a 20% haircut in the stock. Who's getting excited about that? Hey, if you loved it at 27,
so
if you liked it at 27, you're going to love it at 20.
Here's delinquency rate on credit card loans, all commercial banks. It's that is a percentage. It's 3.16% compared to about 1.5% at the low point. This is when all the stimulus checks and everything, people were using those to pay that stuff down. Now, how does it compare historically? Well, it's nowhere near where it was in 2008, 09. It's still, it's double basically where it is now. But of course, we're not at the same point at all either. So I don't really consider that to be super relevant because we're in a different regime now. But we were sitting around 2.5 before the pandemic. Now we're, pushing past 3. So I couldn't find, they might have it. I just didn't see it in the list here. Delinquency rate on auto loans. I'm sure it's here somewhere, but I just didn't see it. I don't know where Lynn is tonight. That's a good question, actually, or astute observation. But, yeah. So, and then also the one that I look at, the credit card loan balance total, and it's, again, pushing to all-time highs. And that is an absolute all-time high. So, yeah. Before the pandemic was 845 billion. Now it's over $1 trillion. Apes didn't take profits during each run up. No, they didn't. And that's how, what do you do with that? And of course, banks are reporting profits. Of course they are. Of course they are. Still too much cash in the market, and the Fed has no clue on what to do. And they're screwed. Actually, strike that, reverse it. Now we're screwed. Now we're screwed because we are being forced to eat the inflation. And that's the name of the game. Shove these higher prices down the throats of consumers. Give us no choice. And let's have another leg up. A scam. But, who am I to say that? Continuing.
21. Hard one to try to step in front of, but
good points by everybody there.
Yesterday. And I suppose last October when things were getting ugly, this thing got down to 18. This is not one that I'm not a retail guy, so I'm not inclined to take a shot here. An IV rank is not that super sexy either. Even on getting demolished, you had Vol Crush. So even IV rank at 30 with individual IV only at 50. These things, retail stocks don't tend to get super high in terms of volatility, individual applied volatility. I'm not super interested, but if this was on your watch list, who knows? 20% discount might be interesting to you. Tell me what you guys think. When you saw Kohl's getting its knees broken today, was any part of you surprised? Was any part of you surprised that you're seeing now, $1 trillion in cumulative debt being put back on credit cards? There's two ways of thinking about that. As credit card debt is rising, you've got half a camp saying, well, yeah, that's just normalizing to sort of the pre-COVID levels, right? During COVID, you had massive transfer payments go out to the people. They used that money because they didn't necessarily need it in the moment. Most or all, I don't say all, many, they paid down unsecured credit, revolving credit. So there's been a camp that is saying, hey, consumers tapped out. They're putting all this stuff on credit cards. That's going to be problematic. And there's another part that's saying, there is a lot. The rate of change of credit card debt is going up, and it's going up fast. However, that's only normalizing to where we were before everybody paid these revolving credit down low.
No.
But I think that's sort of missing the point that that's likely to be unsustainable consumption behavior. And if that's true, how should you think about sort of earnings for a certain cohort going forward? And I think Cole's
also, when people can't pay the balances, that's kind of being high, high amount of debt, low amount of debt. I mean, really only matters if you can't pay it. And what we're seeing here is that increasingly people can't pay it. I mean, this is a steady upward trend. I mean, what reason, what catalyst is there for this to reverse? That's my question. Have we seen anything meaningful, any meaningful pivot? I'll use that cursed word to suggest that would retreat. I don't think so. I mean, I'm racking my brain. I'm not seeing it. Especially now being in like a stagflationary sort of setup.
Was a reflection of that. That place is a morgue. Easy Mike says that place is a morgue. I haven't gone. I'm currently across the pond, Singapore. So I haven't gone into Kohl's in a while. But I can tell you, before I left, I went in like Home Depot a few times, which I can tell you that place is night and day than where it was, 2021, something like that. Everyone bought a home. They're going fixing their homes. I mean, that place was invite only. The lines in that place were so long, and it was like you could get a pin drop the last time I was there a few months ago. If ANF can do it, anyone can. So Abercrombie and Fitch, ANF has been this wild sort of meme stock phenomenon. You tell me, you guys buying this many T-shirts and cologne? Axe body spray.
Good God,
what we're doing now. Shout out to Easy Mike. So what also happened today? Obviously, we got GDP, the second revision of GDP this morning. Which you asked Josh Fabian on this network, and he'll tell you the GDP revisions are some of the most important economic data that you're going to find. Home Depot is the second happiest place on earth behind Costco. It's an acquired taste. It's an acquired taste, Grumpy Mike. I can remember going in there, and if you don't know what you're looking for, prior to me buying a house and actually having to do some stuff with my hands, you don't know what you're looking for. That place is like spaceship. You just walk around like an idiot, trying to look for something simple like garbage bags. Somehow I'm in like the wood screw aisle. Anyways, so bonds generally had a pretty good day. And I say that from the perspective of somebody who has slightly net long deltas in the 10-year future. So it was a pretty decent rally after 2 straight days of like 14 to 15 tick haircuts. So we're down like a point in a day or so, and a decent rally here today. I don't know where we close on a net basis, but something like 14, 15 tick rally. The long end of the curve in terms of bonds back up to 115 after touching the low 114 handle. And the question is, where do we go from here? We had this discussion earlier in the week at the tail end of a really good discussion with Luke Rome, and hopefully you guys got a chance to watch that since our earlier discussion this week. And the focus is really about this asset. What is the riskless asset or the prime asset of choice as you head into a very uncertain time, right? That period of above trend growth, likely that's over, right? Now, could we still be at trend growth while we see either moderating inflation, sticky inflation, or continued disinflation? All those three things are possible, but are we going to go from like 3.5% to 9% again? No. I mean, it's highly unlikely unless you get a massive black swan event, geopolitical event that happens. But given the known knowns, are you likely to see a move from 6 to 9%? Absolutely not. I mean, it took shutting down the world's economy and then reopening it on a dime on a 12-month period. And even with that level of deviation, it was only good for 9%. So while we could see accelerating inflation here, I think it's good to like kind of level set what your scariest scenarios are in terms of inflation or where that number ultimately goes. And the real problem here is likely just sticking. sticking somewhere where we're at. Now, if you start to see OPEC Plus get difficult here, if you start to see additional supply cuts, you start to see an oil prices marching towards or beyond 100, that's going to be a painful environment. But like, I don't know how likely that is. Here's my point. My point is, in a world where inflation does not look like it's immediately going to come down to 2%, how long does the world continue to look at treasuries as the pristine prime asset, especially in a world where central banks have been, over the last 2 years, accumulating gold at the levels they have been accumulating? We talked about this a few days ago. Why are they accumulating? Well, you can make a case that weaponizing the dollar has something to do with changing the calculus for some countries, for some nations. And you could also make the case that, the people's perception of the quality of holding U.S. debt instruments, what that looks like for the next 3, 5, 7 years out into the future. Perhaps that's doesn't look the same as people plug that stuff into their models. And you're seeing an accumulation of gold and you're seeing sort of a degradation in the perception of U.S. debt instruments. Today, however, at least in the short term, markets do not go straight up and they do not go straight down. So today was a day for the good guys. Who knows? It sort of feels like anyone that's long bonds here feels a little bit like you're swimming upstream. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, I like to make my money the hard way. Economic numbers not great, but employment holding up. Totally agree, Joseph. Here's the issue, though. Trading economic numbers is really difficult because economic numbers are they're a picture of the past. They're a picture of what happened a month ago or what happened 3 months ago. And I think if you're trading that way, likely that's sort of a recipe for ultimately probably getting clipped. Because the market's creating a model for how to think about the future around 9 to 12 months into the future.
Well,
that's the way I think about it. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. So you create this model, this anticipatory model of what the world looks like in 9 or 10 months. And then what you're really doing is once you get those numbers, you're truing up that model of the future to what those numbers said. So if you thought above trend growth and you get a GDP that's not 1.5%, it's 1.2%, well, then what does that mean about my model that I've built for the future? That's the way I tend to think about it, not just straight looking in the past and saying, oh, growth was this, so growth is slow. I think that's a difficult way to think about the world. But anyways, I'm still long the 10-year, and I'm still today was a decent day because you got the rally in the Russell, but you had the NASDAQ that was heavy. You guys sort of know my construction. That ended up
a
good day for the good guys. Every once in a while, my blind squirrel finds a nut. Bitcoin for me is another interesting day because it's a day where this thing trades sideways. Yesterday it was a bit heavy, but today, you're trading back and forth between 68 to 70 with a little bit lower each day we go. And then Ethereum at 37.50. And it's just, to me, this feels like it's coiling, but like for what purpose? What is the catalyst? What's the ultimate catalyst here in a lot of these markets, especially as the majors roll? I mean, you look at the S&P 500, that's not the sexiest chart, right? You look at,
is this 120,000 calls, $20 calls, June 21st, 2024. At 567 a piece. They're down. 5 million shares at 21. The 2.6 million gain. So we're to assume that this is real then, I'm assuming. Let's see, $20 calls. But that was for what? June 21st. Okay. And that's supposed to be $20 strike. Okay, there they are, 120,000 open interest. There. I'll be damned. Just in case anybody's listening and not watching, this appears to be a post from Keith Gill on Reddit, posted 45 minutes ago, showing current positions in GameStop. That is okay. All right.
Look at the NASDAQ, not the sexiest. Granted, it's only been a few days there. Dow looks absolutely disgusting. And the Russell, not the greatest from a trend perspective, but not the worst either. So I just think like the majors don't look terrific. If you got a couple of days like today, to me, what that's telling you is it's a signal of rotation. You're funding purchases.
I mean, that's all well and good, but I just, so much is so different from June of 2021 that, you know, I mean, not the least of which is one thing that we were just looking at. This. I mean, you can see it. Like, here's Q1 2021. The consumer was doing better and was actively doing better, and it was getting better for the consumer. Now the consumer's doing worse, and it's getting worse for the consumer. So, you know, all of that pumping and stuff, I'm not really sure that it's going to have the same effect. Well, it's not going to, but I don't know. I'm a bit surprised, but also I don't really care at the same time. Like, because I don't think it's going to change anything. Great. Dude made $2 million Friday. That's awesome. So what? Like, these bag holders didn't. And they're not going to. So like in a general sense, it's like, okay.
Growth and value with things that have likely done well, your NVIDIAs of the world and whatever, your large cap growth. In that world, to me, that's a positive signal for a marketplace. Even
also, I think it's curious that how can you like looking at this scenario, here's a regular, you know, quote unquote regular retail investor who happens to be a FINRA member, who happens to be a professional as well, but we'll overlook that because everybody does. So here we have, you know, a retail investor who made whatever millions before, now coming back to make more. So how is this? I mean, really, at the end of the day, if we're railing against greed as an ape community, you know, supposedly, if the greed of Wall Street is part of the big part of the problem here, how is this not? Well, the answer is it was never about the greed, because of course they would all do the same fucking thing, except they would never be the successful with it. They would YOLO it all and lose it all. But I mean, we happen to think that the greed is a problem. So when I see that, it's like, I don't, you know, good, you know, awesome. He's another asshole rich guy. Great. That doesn't affect me. Not going to affect the retail investors.
Because the weighting of those,
except negatively by instilling false hope. Infinite hopium.
Large cap growth are it's so concentrated in these majors that if those things don't go higher, and especially if they're going moderately lower,
I guess I'm not sure. Model 3. I heard that, but let me go back a little bit.
That means implementation.
It was right there.
Dow looks absolutely disgusting, and the Russell, not the greatest from a trend perspective, but not the worst either. So I just think like the meters don't look terrific. If you got a couple of days like today, to me, what that's telling you is it's a signal of rotation. You're funding purchases of things like the Russell, small cap growth and value with things that have likely done well, your NVIDIAs of the world and whatever, your large cap growth. In that world,
rotation from large cap growth in semiconductors into Russell, small caps. That's what he was specifically.
A positive signal for a marketplace, even though you're going to trade sideways today. things that have likely done well, your Nvidias of the world and whatever, your large cap growth. In that world, to me, that's a positive signal for a marketplace, even though you're going to trade sideways to down, because the weighting of those large cap growth are it's so concentrated in these majors that if those things don't go higher, and especially if they're going moderately lower, that means more than basically the field rally. So you get an environment where if you keep getting days like today, where you're trading sideways to down, and to me, that's actually a fairly positive sign. So again, look at the underlying, look at real estate, utilities, materials, industrials, all these things which it did horrible yesterday. And you're seeing them retrace a little bit of that weakness, discretionary financial. So if you look at the actual sectors themselves, this is where it becomes weird, right? This is where it becomes goofy. Of the 11 sectors, you had 9 that are positive, but the majors, generally speaking, were weak. And you sort of scratch your head and you say, why is that? Well, it's because 2% in technology is enough to outweigh everything else that's being done in the other sectors, given the weighting both in the S&P as well as in the NASDAQ. And so even though you've got, and it's going to sound strange, right? You're trading sideways to down. Victor, why is that a positive signal? It's not if you're trading the majors. So let me not get too cute here. It's not if you're going to trade the majors, but if you're a stock picker here, or you're looking for like you're overweight, underweight certain sectors relative to the S&P, relative to the NASDAQ. Well, this can be interesting because while the majors themselves are going down, you're actually got the field that's going up. Look at equal weights versus just, market cap weighted. So it depends on what you're looking at. That's going to give you a completely different picture of the marketplace. If you're just trading the majors, you probably don't care. But if you're somebody who's got, you've deployed risk in individual stocks or sectors, you probably care because you're going to come away from today and you're going to say this was a negative risk-taking environment. Again, just like we talked about the consumer, that's not nuanced enough. Today is one of those days where you got to be a little bit more nuanced and say a ton of value, market cap in the majors is focused on tech. So if they're ringing the registers on tech and using that money and redeploying it in other sectors, what you're seeing is rotation. If they're ringing the registers and they're not finding a new place to deploy money and it's going strictly to bonds or something else, that's probably not great. So to me, I didn't look at today as the worst day, the worst possible day is my point. You guys tell me if I'm completely off my rocker. But again, that speaks to the point that crypto assets aren't really going anywhere either. It's not like there's this massive exodus right now on risk taking. It seems to me days like today where you see the Russell positive, you can almost guarantee that it looks more like a rotation day than it does a risk off day. I don't know, my oil and mining stocks went up for sure. Which is sort of interesting, right? Crude oil 77.83. It continues to be heavy here off of the 80 mark, even in spite of threats from OPEC plus. And energy stocks themselves held in pretty well today after getting clipped yesterday. So energy stocks up 0.25%. I have exposure here in energy stocks. I'm overweighted. I've said this before, and I wish my story, my positioning changed more than it does. I think it'd be more interesting from a content creation perspective. I just don't see a ton of reason to change the positioning. The positioning is materials, overweight energy, and some overweight China, which I don't know, man. I think I definitely overstayed my welcome there. Luckily, some of that exposure is hedged, but I think overstayed my welcome there. The thing that's been tough, I won't say tough, but early in the week, I reestablished some upside longs in metals. So gold, I've established some upside long call spreads. It hasn't really done much this week. It's traded really down to neutral this week. Silver's gotten obliterated. So the beginning of this week, we talked about if you don't already have a position in silver after, this is the day we talk, right? This 5% move in silver. We talked on this day. And what I told you is I've learned too many times not to go chasing after 5% moves. If you've already got a massive 1, 2, 3 standard deviation move, buying that is sort of a sucker's bet. But fading it sometimes is a way to get turned around, because if your ultimate psychology says, I think this asset is ownable, I'm bullish in this asset, and you get caught fading it, trying to be cute, your psychology doesn't match the way you've deployed risk. And that's really easy to give up on your position, just puke, get chopped up and out of a position. So I don't like to do that. So I just sat on my hands here and still think it's probably expensive, but I do think it's worth, I'm going to take a shot here at a little silver exposure. I would have rather had the gold silver ratio on. So I'd rather be short gold, long silver, but I don't want to be short gold. And I think gold's had enough of a pullback here in the short term. I think if I was smart, I don't know how this makes sense, but if I was smart, the way I would want to go about, if I had no position, I'd go short gold, long silver, because I think playing the gold silver ratio here, even though gold silver ratio is somewhere at 70, and in playing that, you're basically short gold, long silver. You're playing that that number goes down. That long-term gold silver ratio, even though it's down at 70, it's been as high as 90. You'd say, oh, it's getting cheap or it's getting low. Historically, that's still well above historical levels, depending on who you ask. It might be in the 20s, might be in the 40s, but we're still historically well above those historical averages. So I would prefer to play it like that. I just don't want to be short gold here. And being greedy is probably going to get me clipped. So the way that these things can come in line is gold can come down while silver moves higher, or gold stays neutral, silver moves higher, or both can come down, but gold comes down more than silver. So I like the relationship trades in this type of weird no man lands environment. But VIX was down all day. /VX. Yeah. /VX, sure. Anyway, so I like the relationship trade here when it's a sort of a difficult environment to call it. I don't want to be short gold. I did take long gold exposure. I think this silver pullback is interesting enough to fire on, and I'm going to. So either one of two things is going to happen. In the face of dollar strength, you could continue to see dollar strength. And if you get dollar strength, that could continue to put a lid on or dampen upside in dollar denominated commodities. And I think we had a good conversation with Ilya yesterday, who I think, he goes back and forth depending on the risk-taking environment between long dollars and a risk-off type of scenario, and then doing the opposite if he finds himself in a risk-on scenario. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of those environments where Ilya wanted to be long dollars. And if that is the case, then dollar-denominated assets like gold, like silver, like copper, it's not that they must go down. It's just that they're going to have a tailwind against them. And today they certainly did. Gold, a lower, silver, I would say gold was neutral. Silver was lower. Copper, for the most of the session, was lower. So a lot of these dollar-denominated assets over the last week haven't done too well. Same thing with a lot of these foreign markets. FXI, for example, we looked at this yesterday. Last week, it outperformed for the quarter, which we took a look at earlier in this week. Hong Kong and Europe have been the outperformers internationally over nearly 2 months now, 2 months out of a 3-month quarter. But in the last week, you've seen them ring the registers on a lot of that outperformance, both FXI and I look at VGK, but I think Ilya looked at what was it, EZU or EW? I forget the one. But you can definitely see there's been a little bit of a break in those outperformers here. So what am I doing in this sort of weird risk-taking environment? The greatest thing that could have happened to me personally was the volatility we experienced earlier in this week. The move from the 12 handle in VIX last Friday to popping up into the 13s in the early part of this week, which was Tuesday. Why? Because it sort of exposed where I didn't have protection, and so I was able to get some protection in the portfolio where it was when it was still relatively cheap. I still don't think 14 VIX is that expensive, but it's more expensive than 12. So I think having a lot of that stuff on now on some of my biggest positions, so Boeing's, Tesla's, Alibaba, Baidu, I could go down the list here, Newmont, some energy companies up there as well. So getting some downside protection on sort of is allowing me to just kind of ride this out. And if we're going to chop, we're going to chop. And then I'm short futures over the top. So I'm short NASDAQ futures, short E-mini S&P futures, and that nets out to a couple of hundred long deltas or something like that. It's pretty, there's not much going on there. Zscaler earnings. I didn't have fast enough hands to play this. To me, here's my thing. On one end, you see the total need for these companies as we accelerate AI and we accelerate our, they're placing our whole world in the digital realm. And on the flip side, you go, yeah, but that's sort of how the market was positioned in 2019, 2020. And so these things have super expensive valuations. So on one hand, the demand for these products is going up and the need for these products is probably going up. The problem is the valuations were so expensive that even though you might have a good investing thesis, it doesn't matter because the valuations on all of these were so damn expensive. And it doesn't matter which one you're talking about. Zscaler is as the soup du jour. But you can look at any of these. CrowdStrike down $33 today. Whenever you get a threat, a valuation threat, they haircut them all. Selling May, holding up. I don't listen to any of those sayings. Do you guys? Some downside. ETH ETF launches soon. It does. To me, I just find that am I the only one that's fascinated by the politics at play behind that? Am I the only one? Like, I still haven't seen an explanation for that about face, other than these other two presidential candidates are talking super spicy about being pro Bitcoin and anti CBDC. So it's like, let's throw a bone to these people. Let's give them Ethereum so we can keep chugging down the CBDC path. I don't know what it was, but whatever. You've got yourself some pretty ETH ETF launches coming.
Somebody in the Tasty Trade chat said all enterprise software is getting
like Newmont
hammered. Here's Salesforce.
Yeah, easier said than done, my friends.
A lot of these legacy IT type of.
So I think the question becomes like
IT, IS kind of apps.
And here's why I will. What I would love is for on June 13th for Tesla shareholders to vote down the Elon Musk compensation package. Let's do this. Let me ask this question to the chat. If shareholders vote down Elon Musk's compensation package on June 13th.
Model 3 dude, what's your take on the compensation package? If you don't mind my asking. And also Stephen King. I like your books. Dolores Claiborne. Probably going to see another pump and dump this week, I'm guessing, based on the Keith Gill Reddit post. So I'm expecting another pump and dump, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care. Stocks go up and down anyway, right? But all I have to say is, if you are going to mess around with it, it's one of those things where probably should take profits if they come, because we're not in 2021. It's not the same. It's not the same environment. The setup isn't even close to being the same either, but I guess I can look past that for a moment. But retail investors are not in the same position that they're in. They're not in the same position that we were in in 2021. So don't expect MOAS. But sure, fine. There could be a pump, but there will be a dump. That's the takeaway. We saw that last week. We saw that a couple weeks ago. I mean, yeah, I don't see how that could be good for anything or anybody. Model 3 dude, I'm kind of baffled by that, but I'm not surprised, I guess, in a way.
The immediate response in the marketplace, day over day net change.
Let me go back and we'll hear this in context.
For Tesla shareholders. So I think the question becomes like, where do you see new opportunities?
We're going to listen to this. We'll listen to his take on this, and then we'll close it down. But thanks for everybody that was here and engaging in the discussion. I really appreciate that. Always good to have Model 3 dude here too.
What I would love is for on June 13th for Tesla shareholders to vote down the Elon Musk compensation package. Let's do this. Let me ask this question to the chat. If shareholders vote down Elon Musk's compensation package on June 13th, the immediate response in the marketplace day over day net change, is it positive or negative? Let's see what you guys think. You think it's positive or negative? And here's how you got to think. You've got two opposing sort of thoughts to juggle on what's being priced into the market. There's Elon Musk's flight or attention risk on one side, that if you don't pay this guy his money, that line off rounders, right? Pay this man his money. You don't pay this man his money. What is your superstar CEO risk? That he leaves, as I think Gary Black alluded to on Twitter today, that he warned the investors that if you don't pay him, that the risk of him leaving is a material chance. He didn't put a number on it. Material chance he leaves, or that he starts to give a lot of his time and attention to outside things like XAI, for example. His point was, in a world where you need the Elon Musk factor to get Tesla past this autonomous driving, this ninth inning, that you do not want that potential for distraction or that potential weight in getting across the finish line. So Gary Black's opinion is investors should seriously consider paying this guy's money. So you don't pay him, and perhaps there's a weight onto the stock that's not going to happen. The flip side is the potential dilution of the stock, if investors do in fact approve, has to be discounted and priced in some way going into this vote. And if they do not approve it, well, then
take care, Charlotte.
Of the dilution may come out of the stock.
Thank you for being here. Really appreciate that.
Who knows? Maybe they'll
see you soon.
Out, and it's a huge nothing burger. Let's see what you guys are saying. What's up, Jay? Made it here for.
And I'll put the same question to you, Model 3 dude. Do you think the reaction in the stock will be positive or negative? Do you not think Elon should get another dime for his bad decisions? Cybertruck was a flop. I saw the first Cybertruck that I've seen in person. Was that Friday? I think it was. I was out working on a car in the driveway for somebody, and I looked out to the road and I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a Cybertruck. Let me get my phone out. Couldn't get to the camera quick enough. It was gone. It wasn't going fast, but first one I've seen here in Ohio. First one I've seen.
Nelson says it won't matter. Market doesn't care. I don't necessarily agree with that. I do think that market cares. It's just, is there enough? It's like inflation always has two sides. There's always things that are disinflationary acting on the marketplace and inflationary acting on the marketplace. And inflation is just the inflationary forces have overpowered the disinflationary or deflationary forces. I sort of think about pricing the same way. So oftentimes not the market didn't care. It's just that risks were balanced on both sides. But you have an opposing view, and that's totally cool. Joseph says negative. Freezy Brain says drastically unchanged.
Yeah, I'm thinking positive too.
Stagnate.
I'm thinking positive too. And I don't necessarily think that
Elon
Tesla would stagnate without Musk. I don't necessarily think that. I think they're stagnant now. I mean, in a way, the two most popular vehicles have been out for quite a while. 4 and 6, 7 years. The Model 3 and the Model Y. So now we've heard, talk of other things, but we've also heard talk of, we're going to divest from the affordable model. And then you see the Cybertruck coming in at the pricing that it's coming in at. And, I don't know. It's just kind of, stagnant, I guess might be the best word, but he doesn't have that jobs factor any longer. Yeah. Well, and I think it is a jobs factor, but it's not a factor of one. In other words, I think that there is some jobs factor, but I mean, Steve Jobs also was like Apple. That's all that, it wasn't Apple and 4 other companies that he was associated with. It was just Apple. And I think that, that has to mean something. I think. But I also think that he was quite unique. And so, yeah, I mean, just think about the Jobs factor versus the Tim Cook factor, which is like, there is no factor there. Correct. Steve Jobs. That's an interesting kind of angle. But, I think, there's just like some factor there, but the charisma, the visionary nature, those kind of things. But there's a lot of things that, political things and stuff like that. Like, I don't remember Steve Jobs being political. He was a tech guy. Like, I don't know. But, yeah, interesting.
Tesla. I think that's always the risk, man. Like Apple, you start to believe that the institution is bigger than the individual, that the vision of the company. It's always so damn dangerous, and I can't think of any. Can you think of any instances where shoving out the founder was positive for stock performance? And I don't mean just like the founder. I mean like a visionary founder. Even Adam Newman's case did not have positive results for shareholders. I was talking about this with Tom earlier today as I'm waiting for some of your responses here. There's not much juice here to squeeze. I do want to point it out because I'm a nerd. What tends to happen is time is synthetic volatility. Okay. So
and Grumpy Mike said exactly what I was thinking.
Highs when I was giving presentations.
Jobs was Apple, but Jobs was focused on Apple, not a bunch of other crap. And then that's exactly what I was trying to say. So,
button-up shirts, whatever. And I would say, give me a week, and what do you think the odds are that I wear a shirt?
The problem with that is that it was probably overpromised. I mean, because wrapped up in this statement is the whole robo-taxi thing, which cannot happen unless you have FSD. Well, that seems like a pipe dream at this point. But that, unfortunately, that was used to, I don't want to say pump the stock price, but that had an effect on, everything. Because that was one of the, promises. So I'm not going to say it was fraud. I'm not going to say that. But, pretty clear that they didn't have the technology that they said they had. I'll say that. I feel comfortable saying that. So, what does that mean, really? You can only fool people with fake videos, edited videos, scripted videos, and artist renderings for so long. At some point, you have to give the pudding to somebody else to eat it. And that hasn't happened. Now, how much longer can you say, well, we should have it by next year? Is that any different from all these clowns that we see over here talking about, oh, this week is going to be that great. This week is going to be amazing. See, it's like empty promises. Good point. Just like mine of ending the stream at 9.
Give yourself a year. What do you think the odds are that you wear an ugly shirt? They're probably higher because you gave yourself more time. So the odds of something going wrong are likely higher. So when you look at like series volatility, what you should see is vol that stair steps higher in time, because volatility is synthetic time. Time is synthetic volatility. You give something more time, there's more possibility that something negative can happen over that time frame, or there's more uncertainty over that time frame is a better way to frame that. So what should happen is unless you have binary events are the things that change this. So in this particular case, we have 49% vol goes up to 52 and then goes down to 49.7. And then you start to see a normal relationship.
I agree with Steve 020 here about Vic.
From right here,
I think he's a brilliant guy.
Vol goes up with time.
And
more timed expiration, vol is going higher. That doesn't happen. This vol, series vol is just whacked out in the short term. It has a lot to do with the fact that this vote is occurring on June 13th. So you look at June 14th options.
Oh, geez.
That vol is elevated to 52%. So it's, 2 percentage points higher than the previous series and about 2 percentage points higher than the series, the next near term, which means the market at some level does actually care. That's what you would normally see in a binary event scenario, that you would see this kink in the series vol.
I feel a little vindicated. I feel justified.
Or you have more demand for options.
All right.
Demand for options raises sort of your distribution curve because there's more uncertainty, and that uncertainty is priced into the tails. The pricing of that tails raises the series volatility. That's where you end up looking at these higher series vols here.
That's worth listening to again real quick.
Higher than the fact that this vote is occurring on June 13th. So you look at June 14th options and you see that vol is elevated to 52%. So it's 2 percentage points higher than the previous series and about 2 percentage points higher than the series, the next near term, which means the market at some level does actually care. That's what you would normally see in a binary event scenario, that you would see this kink in the series vol because you've got a binary event. Because you have a binary event, you have more demand for tail risk, or you have more demand for options.
More demand
for options raises sort of your distribution curve because there's more uncertainty, and that uncertainty is priced into the tails. The pricing of that tails raises the series volatility. That's where you end up looking at these higher series vols here. So one quick way that I could look at this and say the market kind of cares is the fact that there is raised implied volatility in the series. It's not gigantic, but I think a 2% series differential. It's notable. Let's see here. One of the Uber founders was ousted. Oh yeah, that is good. What's his name? Travis. Start with a K. That is a good touche, my friend. Touche. Freeze your brain. You got me on that one. Okay. So my point is, it does seem like at some level the market cares. If you don't care, who knows? Maybe that vol differential is something you harvest. Maybe you sell some options for June. You buy something a little bit longer dated where it's cheaper, and you're just harvesting that extra premium that exists in this particular series relative to the series that are behind it. I tried to bring this up to Tom, and he was like, so no go about it. Like, it doesn't matter, which I was scratching my head about, but it is what it is. I ultimately think I keep buying Tesla with a downside hedge. It's the same thing I'm doing with Boeing. I buy Boeing with a downside hedge. And I think this is a weird thing for people. It's basically synthetic calls in a way, right? If you're long stock and you're long puts, you're effectively, if you put that on a risk graph, it's going to look something exactly like long calls. So why do you do it, Victor? Well, I do it on things where I actually want to, one, I don't mind having a higher capital outlay, because having more stock, depending on what type of account you're doing this in, having more stock with a long put, while your risk is limited, you might have higher capital outlays. So I do it on things that I don't mind having higher capital outlays, and on things that I actually want to start building a position on, but I don't think the bottom may not be there. And we never know where the bottom is, but like if something's having a decent amount of vol and I still think I want to start accumulating a position, I'll start buying the stock with some level of downside put protection that makes me comfortable. I can sleep at night. And then if the horrible news keeps coming out, planes keep falling out of the sky, keep firing people, and the SEC and the Department of Justice keep firing on Elon, those types of things are going to have negative consequences on the equity part of the position, but positive on put position. And you just have to be okay carrying the drag. So obviously buying puts means you're burning theta.
All right. So
It's impossible!
We will reconvene
You're being a little bitch!
at some point, right?
Fucking run from me! Get off my dick!
You know, if you don't understand the situation, it's better sometimes not to speak.
And pick it up then.
Complete imbecile in the matter. Okay, so
if anybody's interested in that
Man, fuck you. I think you a bitch. You understand what
video we were just watching go over to Tasty Live, and it's The Price of Truth with Victor Jones. I think he's brilliant.
Is that what you're saying?
What
are you saying?
There's a lot to learn as well. So anyway, thanks a lot, guys. We'll be back.
I don't know. I don't really think that.
Always appreciate it. Have a good one.
And then all of a sudden you change the world.